Haiti Biz News Show, 13th of September 2020. I want to welcome folks in. Hello, you know what this is. This is a show where we take a hither and we review the happenings in Haiti. And we do it from a perspective of tête frette. We do it from a perspective of analysis. Parti politique, parti politique. We're not for a particular party, not against a particular party. We're simply for the news, and we try to do it in a way that is impartial, try to do it in a way that is based on facts that we can surmise. In this episode, we're back after a week hiatus. Had to do a bit of vacation to recharge the energy, right? But the energy is recharged, and we're back at it. And we got 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about today. So make sure you don't go anywhere. We got lots of folks, lots of things to get into. Remember, partagez live là, très important. Partagez live là. Share the live. Get some more folks in here wherever you may watch it. We're going on YouTube. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Periscope. And in just a minute, we're going to be on Instagram as well. And so I just want to welcome people in. So before we get too far into it, I'm going to do what we usually do here, which is got some stuff I'm working on in the background and finished our show set up here. It's a one-man show, so I got to do it. So we're going to go ahead and play the intermission sequence for about 2, 3, 4 minutes. Bear with me. I'll be right back. All right. Again, guys, thanks for allowing me to take up time on your Sunday. All right. I'll be right back. Won't spend too much time away. News, current events as it relates to macroeconomic condition. You can always catch us live every Sunday. Haiti Biz News Show. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. You can always catch us 11 a.m. On Sundays. We are live on air. We're going to be talking weekly happenings, economically focused on what has happened, and we're going to dissect it in an unbiased, impartial way. And a big part of what we do here, of course, is Haiti Biz News Show. You know, I did not see and do not see any place online where folks can get a CNBC Bloomberg-like focus on what's going on at the macroeconomic level of Haiti. And so this is what Haiti Biz News Show, Sunday, 11 a.m. We're here every Sunday, right? 11 a.m. You know, Haiti Biz News Show. It's Sundays weekly. This is Seejeanty, Haiti Biz News Show. We talk about news, current events as it relates to macroeconomic condition. You can always catch us live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Haiti Biz News Show. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. You can always catch us 11 a.m. On Sundays. We are live on air. We're going to be talking weekly happenings, economically focused on what has happened, and we're going to dissect it in an unbiased, impartial way. And a big part of what we do here, of course, is Haiti Biz News Show. You know, I did not see and do not see any place online where folks can get a CNBC Bloomberg-like focus on what's going on at the macroeconomic level of Haiti. And so this is what this program is here to do. Haiti Biz News Show, Sunday, 11 a.m. We're here every Sunday, right? 11 a.m. You know, Haiti Biz News Show. It's Sundays weekly. It's Seejeanty, Haiti Biz News Show. We talk about news, current events as it relates to macroeconomic condition. You can always catch us live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Haiti Biz News Show. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. You can always catch us 11 a.m. On Sundays. We are live on air. We're going to be talking weekly happenings, economically focused on what has happened, and we're going to dissect it in an unbiased, impartial way. And a big part of what we do here, of course, is Haiti Biz News Show. You know, I did not see and do not see any place online where folks can get a CNBC Bloomberg-like focus on what's going on at the macroeconomic level of Haiti. So this is what this program is here to do. Haiti Biz News Show, Sunday, 11 a.m. We're here every Sunday, right? 11 a.m. You know, Haiti Biz News Show. It's Sundays weekly. It's Seejeanty, Haiti Biz News Show. We talk about news, current events as it relates to macroeconomic condition. You can always catch us live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Haiti Biz News Show. We are on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on Instagram. We are back on all relevant social media, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, which is Twitter, and also Instagram. And the folks on Instagram, unfortunately, IG, the memo hasn't been sent out to Instagram to let them know that an hour isn't enough time on live streams. And so you guys are going to end in an hour from now. So when it ends, do make sure to switch over to real social media that allows lives to be longer than an hour, okay? And you'll find me, Seejeanty, same name, on YouTube and on Facebook, okay? All right? In the meantime, enjoy it on your IG while IG allows it to be here. So hello. Everyone else, please drop a comment. This is a conversation we're having here. You know, every comment is read on air as much as I try to anyways, to read as much as the comments I can on air. It's not a one-sided conversation. Whether I agree with you, disagree with you, I will engage that as long as we're respectful, courteous, right? And this is a space for us to really gain in our capacity of what's going on and really and use that information to act on it. That's the whole goal of the show, is to have actable information that is unbiased and without the fluff, the political nonsense, right? We're here to, keep it economically focused as much as possible, right? Pour moun yo qui a entré là, qui a dit, écoute, il va blanc pas de soi Haïti, et il va écoute créole là, et il y a plus de monde qui a offendé que ou ka présenter PA non gens et en créole par en partie la donne. Et moi des excuses, c'est pas que m'a expliqué créole là, c'est simplement que il faut qu'on ait Haïti, c'est un pays qui est présenté du monde, il est présenté plus, pas en créole, mais c'est en anglais, il est présenté. Et mauvaise image, une raison que Haïti a une mauvaise crédibilité, c'est parce que les gens qui défendent le pays dans la langue que les gens ne comprennent. Parce que si tout intellectuel, tout le monde dans les social media, tout le monde sait, c'est le créole qui parle, mais tout le monde qui mal, qui sale, qui l'aide de Haïti, c'est un créole qui fait. Excusez, c'est anglais qui fait. Est-ce que ouais, qu'il y a un grand besoin dans la présentation qui fait en anglais? C'est la raison du fait en anglais pour moun ka pi bien comprendre pays ya, langage par eux. Plus tout, vous connaissez, il y a pile haïtien qui vivent dans le pays là-bas, il y a pile haïtien qui c'est langue préférable tout c'est anglais. Et là ça pour nous dire on va suivre des actions qui a fait dans le pays qui pas dans langage préférable. So simplement c'est pas qu'il m'a pas parler là, même les accents qui excusez. Mais simplement que l'émission ça, c'est pour connecter avec des diaspora qui dehors, qui ont préférence. Avec tout, faut connaître tout gars, ou même comme un monde qui préfère que là, on regarde le côté au cas suivre. On regarde radio métropole, ou radio et Guinée ou bien et que ça yo et Chipotle la caille ou Guiwe ou Jean Snowpolion, tout le monde ça yo. Il y a un petit espace, un zing espace sur YouTube là, sur social media, qui est une discussion qu'a faite sur Haïti en anglais. Okay. So this is my little spiel, my little disclaimer I have to give folks that we do things in English. A lot of people get very mad at me for dare speaking, doing anything Haiti in English. And so I just wanted to let folks know, it's not that we have any bias towards it. We have a lot of respect for Creole. It's simply this is a space for folks who really looking for understanding what's happening in the country in English to find that place. Right? And so thank you for that little my usual disclaimer on Creole. Right. As per usual, we have a lot more content going on Seejeanty than just this guy rambling into a camera for 2+ hours or so. Each Sunday, we have stuff where we're actually going out to Haiti. I am in Haiti maintenant, and so we are about showing a different perspective. We are about showing not only what Haiti's beauty and what's available for the country, but we're also about showing shakers and movers who are doing things in the country. Because understand, I moved here going on 3+ years now. And actually going on 3+ years now. And, so far I've, knock on wood, have crossed off a lot of milestones that I've wanted to do. And I've employed or been a part of employment of almost 100 Haitians. It's still a small number compared to the amount of that are still unemployed, but I knew I'd be here. I knew I'd be in a place where, personally speaking, I'm comfortable and I'm doing what I need to be doing. But Haiti doesn't change if one guy is comfortable in doing what he needs to be doing. Haiti only changes when a generation of people are able to do the same thing, come in the country and be comfortable. We know the Haitian government is a terrible institution. The Haitian government is not here to help you in any way. Every single path that you will take, the Haitian government will be there to impede you, slow you down, and ask for a handout inappropriately. But we cannot allow the Haitian government to win, because we're not here for the Haitian government. We're here for the Haitian people. We're here because we are Haitian, right? And we know that we have a responsibility as Haitians to help our country and help our fellow brothers and sisters, right? Because when you hear of Haitians being disrespected in Bahamas, when you hear them losing their humanity and being in Dominican Republic, when you hear very recently in Mexico, Haitians are being disrespected there. And of course, it goes without saying, in America, you're black and your black skin is a green light for cops to target you and injudiciously take your life, right? And we're working for a country that, you can be comfortable, you can be what God has made you to be, a comfortable black person in a society that understands who you are. And that's where we want Haiti to be for everyone, not just for a handful of people. And so that's why I welcome folks to come in, and a lot of folks who are engaged in that fight, a lot of folks who want to be engaged in that fight, a lot of people who just, at least at very least, want to stay informed. And this space is for that. And so again, I encourage you to type something. I encourage you to share this live for sure, because the more folks we can connect that are like this, the better chance Haiti has in growing and being a better place. Because it starts with information. A lot of people will say, how do you change Haiti? And I always say, at the end of the day, we can criticize the Haitian government, but the Haitian government is nothing more but the hair that grows on the society as a whole, right? And until you really change the society, the Haitian government won't change, right? And the big part of changing the Haitian society is educating that society. And you are a part of that society, very important as the Haitian diaspora or someone who's interested in Haiti and wants Haiti to improve. You being informed is a very important part of impacting that change. And so that's what we're here to do. And so again, the more you can share this live, the more you can bring people into the live, the closer we are in achieving that goal of a better Haiti. Because it starts, step one is education. And then of course, step two, very important, is acting, right? Actually taking that knowledge you gain and then doing something as relates to Haiti. Again, business isn't for everyone. I'm not saying everyone needs to quit their jobs and start a venture. It can be as simple as visiting, simple as bringing your tourism dollars into the country, right? And supporting jobs, supporting an industry that can potentially support others, and then sharing images that counteract the very negative one-sided images that CNN, Fox News, and et cetera specialize in, right? Miami Herald specialize in a one-sided negative image of the country, right? So so that's the usual spiel I got to give. So actually, the point of all that was actually to say I have dropped a recent video on YouTube Seejeanty where we went to Chamas and we checked out Le Plaza Hotel. And a lot of people, oh, you went to Chamas, oh, there's all the political stuff happens, and won't you step out in the park? Aren't you gonna be mugged? No. Had my camera team out there. We went to a couple different statues and really important places in the park. We filmed, went on our day. In fact, I had a couple folks in the park who were like, oh man, they didn't even know who I was, to be honest with you. And like, hey man, some folks were like saying, hey, good job. We like what you're doing here. Thanks for showing. And because they overheard what I was saying, we appreciate what you're doing here and showing, and they don't even know me. And they were just giving me accolades. I appreciate that. And Le Plaza Hotel was a hotel that is right there on Chamas. Very beautiful hotel. And I had a chance to go inside. I had to go in the room, show what that hotel has to offer, right? And so, so if you haven't watched that video yet, it's actually on pace to be my most popular video. I mean, it's already comfortably in second place, and it's aggressively moving to be my most popular video. So if you have not watched my most recent Seejeanty, there's a reason why people are liking that episode. There's a reason why people are sharing that episode. It's a reason why YouTube is pushing that episode. So if you have not watched that episode yet, seriously, make today, put a little reminder on your phone to go watch the Seejeanty Chamas Le Plaza Hotel episode. And then after that, share it. Share it with a friend. Share it with someone who's been talking crap about Haiti. Share it with someone who is skeptical about Haiti. Share it with your mom and dad who probably, aren't saying nice things about the country, and just show them that there's a fuller image of the country that, can't be denied, right? So your challenge, that's your challenge. Of course, there's some really great stuff happening with the St. Louis Canal, by the way. Progress is going on and moving and progressing. We had just one of you guys who were so impacted decided to start a page and a website to help broadcast and promote the St. Louis Canal. So for those who don't know, the St. Louis Canal episode is where we went to St. Louis du Sud, which is just a little bit outside of Okai in the south of Haiti. And there's a project where a canal is being built to help prevent flooding for the citizens who are in that town. And so far we've raised incredibly so, raised $4,000, which is I'm just so ecstatic that so many of you guys have stepped up, and I just want to mention that it's still happening, it's still ongoing. I want to give shouts out to Gary, who's out there if you're watching. Shouts out to you, brother, for stepping up and leading the Facebook page for the St. Louis Canal, and also building a website around it and promoting it as aggressively as you do. The ones that know and actually do it. So I appreciate that. So let's give Gary a bit of applause, not just by clapping your hands, but actually visiting the page, subscribing to the page, checking out the website, and ultimately, most importantly, give a little extra little donation to it. And if you've already donated, listen, it should be a new pay. This should be new paycheck time. Just give another $20, give another $30, give another $50, because real work is happening. They're doing real stuff. The community in St. Louis is coming together, and it really warms my heart. And it makes me, make sure that I don't make excuses to why I'm here, right? No matter what's going on, I make time to come here, and it's really because I know that I'm engaged in a community of folks who act and who aren't just talk and who aren't about friff. They're really about what needs to be done for Haiti. So thank you for that, guys. Let me put the banner down here. Those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube, you can see the banner. Those who want to contribute directly to what's going on here, directly who are fans of what's being done here. I always say, hey, you do enough just by sharing, right? You don't have to give $1. Just share this stream for the reasons what I gave about imparting information. But other folks really want to support more directly, and so that's why you see the Square Cash down there. And so if you feel so inclined, feel free. For those who, but again, as you see there right next to it, share the live, partager live la. That's really most important, guys. All right, okay. And before I go any further, let me jump into the chat and see what folks are saying here. As I said, I try to read everything here. Let's see what we got. We got Cool Dude Dwiddens 55. First time I'm seeing you, brother. Hope to see you again. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. We're here every Sunday. He says, are you going to see a video of your trip to Jacmel? Thanks for asking that question. You're not going to see it. No. no joke. I'm serious. You're not going to see it. That was just me on vacation. Just on vacation. I need to unplug. I needed to, and I've done things in the past where I'm on vacation, and I bring my camera and I record it, and it's not, I don't feel genuinely recharged because I spend most of the day filming, right? And so I didn't bring my camera. It was just me, just legitimately enjoying my country, enjoying all the things. But I did story it, so I did have my phone, and I just kind of, real easy, just kind of talked, recorded what I was seeing, and then uploaded it up. No editing, no stress, no heavy old camera to chug around, no permission to ask to the establishments that I'm in. I just snapped, and IG storied it. And so for those who do want to see what Cool Dude is talking about, if you go to my Instagram, on the very top, you can save your stories. I spent over 3-4 days in Jacmel. And so you're free to take a look. And that's sort of the episode of Jacmel. But don't worry, for all my Jacmelians out there, all my folks who are all about Jacmel, we're going to be back in late November. And honestly, it's probably going to be a multi-part episode. I'm going to look at different businesses while I'm over there. We're going to check out the historic sites. We're going to go back to Bassemblé. We're going to do it Seejeanty style, right? So don't worry. Jacmel is going to get some love. Look out for it. We're going to film late November, and then probably drop that episodes of Jacmel, in December. All right. But thanks for that question, Cool Dude. Lovely King, late again. I know. I'm sorry. This is. I have a very valid reason why I'm late today. I'm not going to share why. But for those who know me personally, they know why I may have been late today. And so I have a reason. At least today I have a reason. What's up, Ali B? What's up? Yours true PL. Happy to see you in the chat. It's a quiet chat room without yours truly PL on here. So I'm happy you're here, bro. Jay George, another guy I like to see. Very quiet chat without Jay George. George, what's up, man? Edwin Williams, Yes, good to see you, Edwin. Good to see you, bro. Seeing you in your regular chair. Good to have you in there, man. Paul Villefranc. First time I'm seeing you, I think. And good to see you again, Paul. Canal David, good to see you again, Canal. What's up, man? Hope you're good. Lawrence Gonzalez, what is up, man? Good to see Lawrence. Lawrence is per usual is some guy. You got to make sure it's a guy you got to make sure you follow. He has a IG and page called the Neighborhood Finance Guy. One word, the Neighborhood Finance Guy. One word. Make sure you go give him a follow. He has a website now too. I think by the same name. He's dropping gems, absolute gems when it comes to finance, and it's really important because honestly, I didn't move to Haiti until my personal finances were in order. And I always advise folks to make sure, because you can't help. It's like Haiti. Anything you do, like if imagine you're in a plane and you want to help folks, but what do they tell you? Put your mask on your face and then you help other people, right? What does that mean? That means you need to save yourself first, then you should look to save other people, right? And so following people like Lawrence Gonzalez will put you in a situation to help yourself so then you can help other people, right? So thanks, Lawrence, for being in the chat today. Lovely King Magni. Is it me or just stream skipping? Wow. Let me know if that's the case. Let me know if anyone is also experiencing a stream skipping. Let me know, and I will make an adjustment on my side. But let me know. My Creole is getting better. Personally, I thought my Creole has always been good, but I'll take that compliment nonetheless, right? See that too. The Creole was rough. My Creole was almost extinct when I lived in DMV. Fair enough. Bless 33179. What area code that is? That looks like a Florida area code. Maybe. What's up? It says I'm going to Haiti in October. Watch your videos. Look forward to seeing and enjoying the island. That's what's up. Love what you're doing. Cool. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. Definitely enjoy your time there, and make sure you take plenty of photos, share it on your Instagram. Help your network understand Haiti is a much more nuanced, complex entity. It's not one-dimensional as they like to share, right? EL, what's up? First time seeing you in the chat. Hope to see you again. Here, make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you're watching it from. Hit that subscribe button, and do check out some of the content we have here on the channel. All right, LM, what is up, man? What's up, LM? Good to have you in the chat. LM says, Renaud really depends. Okay, answering someone there. Appreciate that, LM, for the help. Jameson Daiti says, Akune branche, s'ils ont pas. Akune branché. Okay, Akune branché. Hey, what's up? Pepla qui saute Akune. Voilà, excusez-moi, Akune. Pepla qui saute Akune, men. Nous là, bien content nous là, oui. Et merci en pile. Et Jameson. Lovely says, hey, is your internet working right? Something Lovely again is saying that. So Lovely is saying it's skipping. But let me know, anyone else other than Lovely, if my internet is skipping. All right, let me know. I can make some changes. Here. I am blessed. I did just share my Square Cash. I saw you asking. It's right there in the line there. Okay, so feel free. You're welcome. However you want to support, you are more than welcome to. Thank you. Thank you in advance. And by the way, the money that you do provide goes to what I call the war chest and allows us as a team. Because when I it's not just me with the camera. I have a team that helps on these. When I shoot out and about. That's why hopefully the quality is a little better. And than other places that do this sort of stuff, and simply, especially when we go Andeo, it's expensive because I gotta pay hotel and room and food for the team, and so those funds go to supporting that activity, supporting the war chest, and also equipment. And the reason why we're getting a slightly better stream nowadays because the donations that folks give me. We make sure we put it right back in the program, every dollar of it. And so again, thanks in advance. I am blessed for that. Gary shouts out and gives Gary some appreciation there, directly promoting his chat. What he's saying, hello, brother, thanks again for the work. This is the Facebook page. That's right. So Canal, you can see it there. This is, if you do Canal St. Louis, Haiti, Canal St. Louis, Haiti in Facebook, you will find the page and you will be able to like it, follow it, and stay informed. A lot of people who donate, especially a lot of those who donated, you will be, that's how you can stay informed, right? Because you gave money, you have the right to, stay informed, and following that page is a way to do that. So Gary, thank you again, brother, for stepping up and doing that on your own volition, by the way, on your own volition. Jay George says, wants to invest $500,000 in Haiti, but I'm scared due to instability. Don't want something negative to happen to me. I don't know what to tell you, except that people invest that much money and more daily in the country. I don't know what to tell you. If you have no familiarity with the country, I probably would tell you not to invest. I probably would tell you to stay where you are, because Haiti, you don't do, if it's $5 or $500,000, you don't invest in the country without having a connection. Haiti isn't a place where you can just fly in, dump some money, and think you can sit back and sip culados and just get money out. If that's what you think Haiti is, it's better to stay where you are, maybe America and Canada, and just invest in that country there. Haiti is very simple. Haiti, to win in Haiti, it's a very simple proposition. You have to become familiar with the country, right? And I can tell you, a lot of people give me flack when I say this, like, if you're expelling those sort of ideas, oh, I'm afraid I'm gonna be killed if I come and invest. That's because you're saying that because you don't know the country. You're saying that because you're seeing images of the country, you're hearing people say things about the country, and you have no experience yourself in the country. Because if you did, you wouldn't say that. Because I can tell you, I've lived in the country for 3+ years. I've always flew back and forth my whole life, and I've never felt fearful for my life, ever, not a single day. I've been annoyed sometimes when paid lock happens and I can't move around, but have I been fearful for my health, for my safety? Never, right? And so my advice to you, Jay George, is don't spend a dollar. Come to Haiti, and break this mental blockade, I guess, that you have of what the country is. And once you understand what the country is and you have actual connections on the ground, then you should invest, right? Then you should look to do stuff, right? And again, I'm not blaming you, by the way, Jay George. I think that's why we're here. That's why I do what I do, is because there's just a one-sided perspective of Haiti that even me, if I just listen to Haitian radio, even Haitian radio about what's going on in Haiti, I think it's a country of cannibals and people eating and gangs fighting and killing each other. And the moment you get out the airport, you're going to be mugged and kidnapped. I would assume that too. If I had no familiarity, if I wasn't talking to you in Haiti right now, I'd probably be saying the same things you people think. Absolutely. Right. So I'm not following you. That's why I'm just saying, simply put, re-engage with the country, right? And see for yourself that, job at Monjo, the moment you get out the airport, it's a very different country. Right? So again, that's all I can tell you. People will look at your $500,000 looking and laugh at you because they're investing millions upon millions of dollars in the country, right? And they're fine, right? So I don't know what to tell you, Jay George. Lovely King says, I think my stream is over. I haven't seen anyone else talk about the stream quality. Ali B says, what industries in Haiti needs and what can we be more invested in? So I'm working on a book. Called 101 Ways to Invest in Haiti, and there's literally 101 different ideas, and we group it by industries. Like a couple ideas are in food, a couple ideas are in technology, telecommunications, another bunch are in media, for example. A lot of so we're grouping them by industry, right? Ultimately. That book will come out for the end of the year. In fact, I hope today to actually, knock out the last chapter. I'm so excited. Actually, today I might knock out the last chapter, and then the draft will be done. And now I'll be spending the next few weeks just revising it, reviewing it, cleaning it up, and getting it tight, get in the hands of a professional reviewer, and give me some perspective. And so we're getting to the finish line. I can see the finish line on the horizon. So that book will be out, and that's one way. That's the one thing that's going to answer your question, Ali B, in terms of what, because it's not a quick conversation, right? There's so many opportunity. Haiti is a virgin country. truly is. And so to really go in depth, and when I go in depth, I'm not just giving you ideas. I'm literally saying, okay, here are the ideas. Here's where you can do the idea. Like where country, where area can this idea be most successful? Here are action and tips for you to be successful. And most importantly, here are some examples of people maybe not doing this idea, but doing a version of this idea. And here's how they were successful. Here's their story. Here's proof. And I'm not just talking out my butt. Like, here's actually people doing what I'm suggesting you do. And if you build on this, on their version and slightly tweak it, you're going to be successful, right? And so obviously that's such a large conversation. You couldn't do it in a quick little live session. So it's going to be a book. You're going to be able to purchase it. And when you purchase it, you'll be helping Seejeanty and a lot of the things I have going on here. And so it's a win-win. That's why I'm reason a lot of people ask, oh, Chris, Seejeanty, you should do merch. You should, do shirts and allow people to buy stuff from me. But I'm like, it's not about the money for me. It's about the value I'm bringing to the community who wants to impact and change Haiti. And so I want to add direct value to that mission. And that's why I'm creating the book and providing the book to you, the audience. And it's a mutual exchange of me providing something to help you and then allowing you to contribute and grow what's going on here. So that's the best way to go about it. And so look out for it before the end of the year. We're going to have it. So thanks in advance. Thanks for that question. Right. Let's see. Gary Tech. Hey, man. Good to see you, bro. Good to have you in the chat. Kosin Nicola. Salute to you, my brother. Good to see you in the chat room today. Black Millennial. What's up, man? Good to have you back. I think it's your second or third time here, maybe. Good to have you back, man. Jeffrey Morales, Sakpase Nula, Jay Saint. Happy Sunday for sure. Daniel Dodard, good to have you in the chat, man. What's up, bro? Do you know where I can watch Haitian soccer, like Haitian Soccer League? I do not know, unfortunately. I do not know. In fact, it was funny. One of my first ideas in the book is that industry. But we'll check out the book. You see what I mean. Ernest Nicola. Happy Sunday, Ashley Pierre from Dallas, Texas. What's up, man? Glad to have you. EL says imperialism has a lot to do with the state of Haiti, perhaps. But what more has to do with the state of Haiti is people just blaming stuff like imperialism and white supremacy and not acting on their capacity to provide jobs in Haiti, right? Because at the end of the day, we have control of ourselves. And no one is putting a gate against you doing at a micro level what you need to do. And if enough people at the micro level do what they need to do, then the macroeconomic condition can't but help change, right? And so, I love the comment, but let's focus the comment on what we can do individually to impact and change, right? Anyone can blame and say, oh, it's imperialism, white supremacy. Listen, I am here in the country and providing jobs, impacting, and there's no imperialism stopping me. There's no white supremacy stopping me, right? And so we need to change the conversation away from this muddled macro blame game and see what can we individually do to change the country, and then what can we do to work together to change the country. That's where the focus needs to be, right? But we do need to recognize there is imperialism and white supremacy that's affected Haiti. Certainly we need to add that as the context to the painting. But we need to act most importantly, right? Thanks, Lawrence. Lawrence said it's clear on his end. My piece, it is skipping on my end. Streaming, okay, this is weird. So streaming for some people, working for some people. I don't know. Mari Pierre says it's skipping. Connection is horrible on my end. That's very weird. Again, guys, let me know how many folks are having a good connection or not. Mari Pierre is saying the connection is not too good. That's two people. Again, talk to me, folks. Let me know how the connection is. Otherwise, I'll try to change them on other fiber internets that I have here at the office. A lot of people ask, so Jack, how are you able to stream like multiple places at once? Man, you must have like really good internet. And yes, I do. And on top of that, I have secondary really good internet because some days one of the internets may not be working. And trust me, I pay money for it. I pay money for the internet quality I have, believe me. And folks at IG are saying it's good too, good stuff. In fact, let me give IG some love. Let me go scroll up and give IG some love. What's up, IG? Remember IG, if you're watching me on IG, any minute now, IG is going to stop. Not any minute, but within an hour, IG is going to stop functioning and you're going to have to switch over to YouTube or Facebook to watch me. So let me give some IG some love, see what's going on. What's up? Hey, Tariq Muhammad, what's up, bro? I hope you're doing good in Florida. For those who haven't listened to my conversation with Tariq Muhammad, he's an African American, not Haitian, an African American who decided to move to Haiti and start business. And he currently employs somewhere around, well, what you're at now? You got 8, 10 employees now, right? In outsourcing, right? And we did a podcast a few months ago. It's on my channel now if you want to take a look at it. Mapimpo IT. If it's on Spotify and everything. Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. If you look for Mapimpo IT or just type in the Haitian diaspora living in Haiti podcast. And Tariq, one of my most popular episodes, because listen, African American moved to Haiti and is successful and is safe. He invested a lot less than $500,000. He didn't get killed, right? And he's growing his business. If African American could do it, what's stopping you as a Haitian American? Think about that, right? And of course, so many folks will blame and say, "Oh, the Lebanese and the Syrians, they control the economy." But Tariq Muhammad doesn't. By the way, Tariq doesn't even speak Creole, and yet he's running a successful registered business in Haiti. What's your excuse? What do I want here? What is it? White supremacy, imperialism that's stopping you? Okay, all right, no matter. Tariq, what's up, bro? Happy to have you in the chat today, man. Happy to have you. Tariq says, thanks for keeping it diverse. Says you were helpful to me as African-born American to start my business. Ain't no problem, man. I'm happy it's been successful, it's been growing. So keep it going, bro. Thanks, man. Azure says my connection's fine. Thanks for that. Mark, thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's even on that day I'm working. Right? That's the best way to celebrate. That's how I celebrate. I work because that's truly the best way for me to honor what I got going on here is to keep chipping away. We got Street Team saying interested to know about donating, and let me go ahead and type that in for you. It's $Seejeanty, and you'll find the Square Cash. Just like that, and thanks in advance for your contribution. It's gonna help add to the war chest, right? But of course, sharing the stream it can be just as impactful for sure. Abraham X87 says we need to create liberal economics in Haiti. I think maybe it's meaning like educating perhaps. But I agree with you. In any case, we certainly need to understand the economics of it and understand security in Haiti. We're going to impact at a higher level, right? Need to straighten the justice system. I agree with you too. All right. Thank you, Tariq. See, I think you told me you're a Virgo, actually, and that's why we're cool like that. I only have good relationships with 2 types of people on the planet. I swear to God, and that's Cancers and Virgos. Everybody close to me in my family and just close to me. And I get them. I don't look at them weirdly. It's Virgos and Cancer. So no wonder we're like this, Tariq. It makes sense. Makes sense, man. So let's go ahead. Oh, actually, before I go any further, I want to give a shout out to Ralph, $10 donation there through YouTube. I certainly appreciate that. It's going to go added to the war chest. Thank you so much, bro. Certainly appreciate that. No amount's too big or too small. Thank you. It's going to be added, combined together to the war chest to impact and do things in the country. So thank you for that, Ralph. I want to give you a shout out for that. And actually, that's on top of the 5 you already gave, right? So altogether, $15 from Ralph Joseph. I want to thank you so much, bro. Much appreciated. And it's going to be used. It's going to be impacted. Every dollar of it's going to be impacted. So thank you for that, right? So let's jump into the headlines. Right? Of what we're going to be talking about, and we're going to focus on that. And so I'm going to open up here. What's this thing not opening? Okay, there we go. So we're going to be talking about COVID. Obviously, we got a depreciating dollar to talk about. That's a big thing. A lot of folks have been asking me, Seejeanty, make sure you talk about the depreciating dollar. What's going on? We'll definitely talk about that. The Caribbean Basin Trade Partnership Act. It's going to expire at the end of this week. sorry, at the end of this month. And so we need to talk about that. The Caribbean Basin Trade Partnership Act, and they expired. We're going to be talking about that today. Rhum Bakara is expanding in Haiti. Rhum Bakara is expanding in Haiti. Massive multi-million-dollar investment happening in the country. And we're going to talk about that today. Okay. Lots of international aid and international activity from partners, large and small, happening in the country. And we're going to talk about those actions and those activities today. Telecommunications, we got some stuff going on coming out of NatCom. We're going to talk about some numbers coming out of there. Electricity, work-related, to the tune of $150 million. We're going to talk about today on the stream. Insecurity, a little bit of some updates as it relates to that. We're going to talk about that today. And we got to talk about Naomi Osaka doing some really phenomenal things in the tennis world, representing Haiti, and so we got to talk about really quick what's going on with her in this episode. So as you can see, we got lots of stuff to talk about. So stay tuned. Do not change that channel. Give me 1 second here as I make a little bit of adjustment on setup here. Let's see. Y'all bear with me here before I get started. I don't want my laptop to die on me while we're midstream. All right. That should do it. All right, boom. Okay, there we go. We are all set. All right. So let's jump into it. All right. So first news story we got to talk about COVID. Right. It's still a thing. The vaccine hasn't out yet. Right. And so we still got to talk about it. Still in Haiti. We have 2,100 active cases of COVID in Haiti. That's down from 2,200. Oops. Sorry about that, guys, on Instagram world there. Sorry. Okay. That's down from 2,000 active cases in Haiti. And we have 216 deaths, and that's down or up from 201. So we had in 2 weeks now. This is by the way, these are 2 weeks numbers. In 2 weeks, we only, sorry for the lives lost, but compared to we were at one point we were like 30, 40 deaths a week, right? And so to be down, in effect 8 deaths a week, that's could be worse, right? And so things are depreciating and moving in the right direction in Haiti. In the Dominican Republic, we always got to talk about DR because we share an island and we have to know what's going on there because the borders are so porous and it's going to come back to Haiti. And so we had also decreasing 24,000 cases in Dominican Republic versus 26,000 2 weeks ago. We had 19,000 deaths in Dominican Republic, up from 1,600 deaths, right? So that's almost 300 deaths. And that's about the rate of deaths they've had. And so though we're seeing a lot less active cases, we are still seeing the same death count, meaning we have, some people are being cured, but a lot of those people are still passing away from COVID, right? So that's the COVID update. Now, depreciating dollar, you got to talk about, because a lot of folks have reached out, and a lot of folks are here on the stream specifically to say, okay, Seejeanty, you're going to be talking about the depreciating dollar. What's going on? Let's take a step back. So first off, what happened initially is that the good was decreasing in its value tremendously. And though the situation in Haiti has gotten worse, certainly in the past 2-3 years, from a socioeconomic perspective, it certainly didn't get so bad to where it necessarily, Petty Law did shut the country down, and certainly would contribute to sentiment that our economy is not little confidence, and that little confidence would drive the currency down further. But as I expressed before, it's not that at all. If you guys who've been following me know what has driven the depreciation good really is a story happening across the world, which is the dollar was appreciating very aggressively, right? And that's really because in times of economic uncertainty, the dollar really is the world's choice of value savings, right? And that comes from a perspective of gold. A lot of folks are, well, gold should be, no, listen, relax. We're not here to, we know this. All I'm saying is the world, Brazil, you know, when you talk every other developing country, folks who have a short-term liquidity, have a little bit of cash, and that's not in a brokerage account, right? They, to ensure that it keeps its value over a long period, they put it in dollars, and then putting in dollars, you know, drives up the value of the dollar because it's being reserved and it's being stored away. And in times of uncertainty, more and more businesses, more and more, you know, as companies stop investing and expending, and people stop spending money because they don't know what's going to happen next, they put their amount of money not in their local currency but in their in U.S. dollar, right? And that's a big part to why you know, the dollar is able to hold its weight despite whatever may be going on in the domestic economy. Now, unfortunately, the dollar saw extreme valuation upwards that really made it almost unbearable for many countries like Haiti, for example, where you saw almost a 40 to 50% decrease, so a 40% decrease in the exchange rate, right? Because of the increase in dollar. And a lot of countries were complaining about that. And so that's what caused the big reason to why the depreciation happened. But another big part too has to do with the fact that so much of the Haiti budget has been financed by the central bank. And it's suffice to understand that the way that the central bank has been financing the Haitian government is in fact de facto printing money, right? It's a little more nuanced, a little more complicated, involving treasury, bonds and issuance of debt, and the fact that private banks can purchase that debt and finance the government directly, in addition to the central bank doing funny accounting that allows in effect the government to borrow money from the central bank, i.e. borrow money from itself, right? Again, we won't go into the nuance of the operations behind it, but it has the same effect as literally them printing money, literally printing money and then giving it to themselves to use, has that same deflationary effect, right? And so, because almost, to understand, and I've talked about this previously, there was almost a 30 to 40% increase in the central bank. Actually, more than that. I'd have to take a look at we talked about this before. I have to take a look at my notes from a prior episode. But the value was huge, like somewhere between, it was like 3 billion good one year, and then the next year it was like 36 billion good, right? So much larger than just 30, 40%. I mean, it was multiples of financing increase, and that equated to about 30 to 40% of the Haitian budget being financed by, in effect, printed money, right? And so those two things together really brought the depreciation of the good to where it was, which was pushing 120 plus good for a single dollar. But within the past few weeks, we've seen the good, or the dollar, plummet in value to where right now, as we're talking today, there's some places in Haiti, like Léogane, and even some places here in Port-au-Prince, Pétionville, where you can get $80 for a good. $80, other way around, I'm sorry. 80 good for $1, right? Which is incredible. We were trading at 120 just the week, like 2 weeks, really, 2 weeks prior, right? A lot of folks trying to understand why that is, what's going on. And of course, the central bank's going to try to take credit. Well, we injected 150 million US dollars into the economy, which is equivalent to, and we're doing it weekly over the week, so it's about $18 million a week, and that's equivalent to 45% of the entire money supply, $4. So yeah, pat us on the back. It's us. Really? As you know, we reported on Seejeanty that the BRH, this is the very beginning of the good crisis, and it really is a crisis because so much of this country is an import-based country, and so when you have a situation where the good is decreasing value, in other words, more good is needed to buy items that are imported. That price isn't kept by the the grocery stores, the retail stores. It's passed to the consumer, and the consumer is regular Haitians who are barely making enough money as it is, and it gets passed on to them. And so it was tremendous crisis happening. The fact that we're seeing a reversal, but during that crisis, the BRH, the central bank, was doing this. They were injecting dollars in the economy. They did this twice for values, when you sum it together, equal in what they're doing right now. Each round was doing more and more, but yet you could see the currency, would it move? The currency would still be depreciating very aggressively. And so it really genuinely boils down to one thing, which is the currency of the dollar depreciating for reasons unrelated to the what the central bank is doing. Listen, put it like this, guys. Put it like this. Understand something. When you look at every single factor in Haiti, right? First off, understand something. The only thing that could genuinely give the Haitian good a little bit of fight strength, it's like you're in a fight with Rocky, you're in a ring. The only chance you have to fighting the US dollar in terms of valuation is if Haiti was producing something and selling it to the world. And Haiti doesn't, when you compare it to imports to exports, there's a big difference. Haiti imports somewhere about $8 to $10 billion of product a year, but maybe exports $1 billion to $1.5 billion. So there's a massive gap in imports versus exports. And Haiti, the economy isn't streamlined for exporting. The government doesn't help exporters. As you know, the government, in every facet of its existence, blocks business from functioning. And so the government's not helping you, right? And so it's not national production. And the government could be in a very good position to help national production. In fact, the government is in the best position to help national production, but it doesn't do anything, right? So, and in fact, national production over the past few years has gone down, especially because of paid lock and political instability and insecurity. National production has gone down, right? And so the one thing that could potentially give you some breathing room on your currency, Haiti has gone the wrong direction. Tourism has been going in the opposite direction, right? When you look at between level 4 travel advisories, in fact, Canada just dropped its equivalence of level 4 travel advisory a few weeks ago, and basically telling Canadians do not travel to Haiti except for extreme reasons to travel to Haiti. Right? And so when you look at tourism, and usually when they do this too, it's accompanied by actual travel companies like Expedia, for example, not listing Haiti on their service. Right? Luckily, fortunately, even though we're still on a travel 4 advisory, Expedia is still listing Haiti, at least for America, to travel to. And so, but this has been something that's happened 2-3 times in the past few years. And additionally, even without Expedia blockading us, in effect, you had legitimately paid lock that shut down the country for so long. And so all these things have meant that the occupancy for many hotels are at the lowest they've been in years. So and tourism is a big assistance to helping the valuation of a currency. And that's been almost nowhere, right? That's been going in the direction down, 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 right? So that's something else, right? The diaspora sent a lot of remittances back to Haiti. And surprisingly, though, it's not negative. They haven't sent less. Surprisingly, it's actually gone up a little bit. It's gone up a little bit in terms of what the amount, the billions that the Haitian diaspora are sending to their families back home, right? And so a lot of factors are involved. It's not that the Haitian diaspora are doing. We know the Haitian diaspora are doing very bad in these countries because the fact that the industries most affected in America, Dominican Republic, and Bahamas are a lot of industries that Haitians are a part of, right? And so, but nonetheless, we can say for sure the amount that would have been sent is not as high as it would have been, right? Given that Haitians in these countries are have lost their jobs, right? So even that has not been able to help, especially even if there's been a slight increase in remittances. There certainly isn't enough to offset the decreases in every other sector, right? So when you add all this together, right, there isn't. I didn't even get into this insecurity, right? Folks who've been following, the fact that there's been, unfortunately, for the poorest of Haitians in certain areas, there's been an increase, and we talked about it last time. Last episode we had a very long, serious, earnest conversation about the insecurity that's been happening. So if you really want a much deeper dive in that conversation, go check out the last Haiti Biz News episode. Towards the end of the episode, we had a very long conversation about insecurity in the country, and I want to revisit it this episode. But just know that is another thing that has been affecting the climate of investment in the country as well. And so all those things together, there isn't anything happening in the country that would, economically speaking, improve the currency, right? And so when you take away all the things that could be helping improve the exchange rate and you leave what's left, the only thing that's left is simply you have an appreciating dollar that's appreciating for reasons totally irrelevant to the Haitian economy. And that's as simple as that as a conversation point. Because understand, when you look at, for example, Dominican Republic right next to us, even during the worst of the past few months during COVID, even right now, they've only seen a roughly 10% decrease in their currency's valuation as it relates to the dollar. 10%. Right? So that tells you everything you need to know, right? Versus a functioning economy versus Haiti's economy, right? So that's where we're going to leave that. We'll move on to the next news story. We have the Caribbean Basin Trade Partnership Act. The Caribbean Basin Trade Partnership Act. It expires September 30th. Expires September 30th. And what that is, it's a law that was passed in the early 2000s and renewed many times. And it was an act that was there really to help the Caribbean, but also to help Haiti in providing an avenue for large investment and job creation. A big pusher and advocate for that was Bill Clinton. And a big aspect of the Caribbean Basin Act was the HOPE Act. The HOPE Act being the tariff-free export and import into America of apparel, clothing, and that was a big driver to tens of thousands of jobs in the country by large apparel producers from all over the world to set up shop in Haiti. Unfortunately, it is incredibly it is not a good thing if it were to expire. There's been no political will. The Congress has been totally. It's a given that it's an election year, it's a what do you call that? Dead duck or a duck? We got a lazy duck. It's something duck, right? Congress that really isn't passing any laws or anything, right? Or not functioning given where we are in the election cycle, right? And what's it called? Dead duck? What is that? Somebody help me out. What's it called? Dead duck. But anyways, so it's most likely going to expire. And if it expires, ladies and gentlemen, Haiti's going to lose a lot of jobs. And although a lot of people are going to, rightfully or wrongly, they call them, these sweatshop jobs, right? These Haitians are quote unquote underpaid and quote unquote being mistreated. But I can tell you, I've interviewed Haitians who work in these places just one-on-one, and I can tell you the money they make there versus outside of women, for example, who are employed there. When they lose their jobs, guess what they go out and do? Lame duck. Thank you, lame duck. Thank you, guys. Lame duck session. You know what they do? They're going to go back to being mama serras on the street, right? Where they're making half, right? Half of what they're making in the quote unquote inhumane sweatshops. They're out in the elements, in the sun, with the flies, with the poussière, with the cars dangerously close to them, right? They're open, there's acts of criminality potentially that could happen to them, right? They're not outside, away from the elements, right? And everyone, but yet we're fine with the conditions of most Madame Seras. There's some Madame Seras who do very well, who actually make much more than what the Madame Seras in the factory. But then that's maybe 20%. Other 80% are who I just described. They're making half, if that, selling what they're selling. And so, how can we cheer? I mean, there's going to be people are going to cheer. It's like, yeah. Oh, by the way, IG is closing. So please, those who are watching on IG, comment on Seejeanty YouTube or Seejeanty Facebook. All right, I'm not going to renew it. Okay. How can we cheer for tens of thousands of Haitians losing their jobs? Right? Even the men, some of the men who work, they're going to become tap drivers, making a fraction of what they're making in dangerous conditions. Because the tap drivers, people know they carry cash, right? They want to. Madame Seras, so animated. This is X. Am I talking about hookers? No, Madame Seras are street vendors, street merchants. When you drive around Haiti, they're selling fruit vendors and stuff like that, as an example. Right? That's what I mean. Those are Madame Seras, not that what you just said there, animated decisions. And we can't be cheering that, right? Because though as much as folks may hate those sort of jobs, there hasn't been any country that has become developed where there hasn't been a stage of those style of manufacturing happen, right? And they really do help change economies, period, right? There hasn't been any other example of economies getting out of poverty-stricken states without mass industrialization, period, And so if the act was to expire, and it's probably going to expire, that is catastrophic for a very weak Haitian economy to begin with, right? So we're gonna keep a close eye on it. Haitian Ambassador Herve Dennis was actually in Washington D.C. Was actually meeting with the Commerce Subcommittee to make the case for the renewal for it, and so but ultimately it needs to get to Congress. The act needs to be renewed by Congress. So we'll see. The next news story has to do with Rhum Bakara. Rhum Bakara is expanding in Haiti. Rhum Bakara is a very popular rum in Haiti. For a long time, it was sort of viewed as the Dominican well, first of all, it's direct competition with Rhum Bakara, which is like, there's the Haitian flag. There's the Haitian flag. Then there's Prestige, and then there's Rhum Bakara. Those are the Haitian symbols of Haiti, right? And Rhum Bakara for such a long time was viewed as a usurper, Dominican rum that is coming in and taking our national heritage's rum away from us, right? But the reality is that Rhum Bakara is founded by a Haitian by the name of Jacques-Éric Baboun. I hope I'm not saying it too wrongly, too incorrectly. Jacques-Éric Baboun, Baboun. And everyone always knew that. They knew that aspect. They knew that Rhum Bakara was by Haitians in the Dominican Republic, right? But the reality is it's a little more complicated than that. For a while, yes, in inception, Jacques Babon's company did white label Dominican beer, or sorry, Dominican rum. But then after a situation, a disagreement with the distillery, he did begin to invest in Haiti and making more and more of Rhum Bakara in Haiti. But then the earthquake happened. The earthquake happened, and the little facilities that they did have were destroyed, and the ecosystem of making anything in Haiti was destroyed. And so they did go back to making rum in the Dominican Republic, right? And but of course, that only added to the reputation they were trying to fight, which is that I even saw somebody in here say that in here. It was like, oh well, rum, it's not Haitian. But the reality is they've been steadily putting more and more of their facilities in Haiti, and just this past week, they announced a massive investment. They announced that 100% of Rhum Bakara is going to be made in Haiti. They have a facility, a 60,000 square foot facility in Haiti that's going to be making their rum. It's going to have water treatment systems, water storage tanks, right? Sophisticated fire systems. Because again, alcohol is flammable. People forget about that, right? You're going to be an aging room that's going to have 2,000 oak barrels, right? And a testing, a highest quality testing laboratory, in addition to a modern mechanized bottling room. So, first world stuff here in packaging and crafting, etc. Right? And, and on top of that, what's interesting too is that they're actually looking to invest in the value chain of Haiti, meaning working with local farmers, sugarcane farmers, a lot of the secondary ingredients as much as possible to source as much as possible their ingredients in Haiti, right? And most importantly, too, their factory, because a lot of space, right? That's 60,000 square feet. It's a massive facility, even more than they could use. They're actually opening their factory to other Haitian entrepreneurs who are, maybe beer makers, maybe clairin makers, whatever your alcoholic beverage may be. And there's a lot of, really small alcohol producers in the country. And Rhum Bakara is actually opening up their facilities to other alcohol makers, small alcohol makers, because it's not about them winning. This is going to be their press release anyhow. It's not about them winning. It's about Haiti winning, right? And of course, however they can support and really, because it's the Haiti's market has a very large tranche. There's plenty of space for other players in it. Because they're very. What's interesting about Bakara, why they've gained so much market share is they've done things Rhum Bakara don't. Like for example, Rhum Bakara, they make very flavorful, like sort of pre-made cocktails in a way, where their rum is already infused with different flavors that a lot of people enjoy. Women openly enjoy. A lot of men, trying to be men. Oh, we drink that straight, non-flavored stuff. Man, you go to any Haitian guy's cabinet, and they'll see some flavored Bakara in there too. And that's the reality, right? Even myself, I tasted a few, real tasty. See why they gained so much market share from Rhum Bakara. And so, and by the way, recently they won a bronze in the World Spirit competition, which is a very prestigious rum competition in San Francisco. And they came in bronze, third place, right? So, they've been recognized for their quality as well, right? And so, why this is important is that, one of the biggest criticisms that the elites have in Haiti, right? And this is rightfully criticism, is that too many of them are engaged in importation. Right? So at the end of the day, they control a big part of. When I say control, a lot of their activities contribute to a big part of the registered GDP that happens in the country. Right? And I always say this: Haiti is not poor. Like when you drive around, and you see the amount of Madame Segas, farmers. In fact, an episode I just shot yesterday. I was out Undale and I purchased a bunch of vegetables from farmers because you get the best prices. Like you get what you pay $10 for, you can get $50 worth of stuff, right? So faut profiter. But guess what? That transaction I just did isn't a part of the GDP. Right? All the sales that you see, it happens in the street, right? And the open markets, none of that happens in the GDP, right? And that's why I was questioned. Like, if I was a Haitian president, the first thing I would push for is inclusion of the activity that happens by the Madame Segas and the informal market, the large informal market. I would demand we figure out a way, I don't care, to include their activity. And also, the easiest way to include their activity, I'll be honest, is registering, getting them registered. A lot of these Madame Segas aren't registered. They don't have formal business licenses in the country. They don't have bank accounts, right? The easiest way to register their activity is real simple. It's as simple as registering them and getting them in bank accounts. So they're taxing them, right? And once you do those three things, their activity will be registered in the GDP, right? But again, that's the Haitian government that actually understands functionality, and we're a generation or two away from that. Okay, let's just be real. But nonetheless, the amount of registered activity that happens in the Haitian GDP is done by these big families, right? And the baboons are a part of that, right? And to see that they have the vision and the true patriotism, true patriotism is investing in the country, not just importing, but investing in the country, taking that risk, right? And it's a risk, that risk. I don't, as much as folks want to criticize the big families, I can also, on the flip side, say, a lot of them are very business astute, and a lot of them simply, as any business, like in America, you think GE gives two craps about you? They're following the money. And a lot of these big companies, they follow tax incentives. And governments know that if they want big entities to do things, they structure tax incentives in a way, as an example. Right? And also they enforce, they have an enforcement part to make things illegal and enforce things too, which Haiti is very far away from doing. But the carrot and the stick, and they put carrots and say, we'll give you we'll charge you less taxes if you create jobs in the country, for example. And Haiti is very far from that. Haiti is very far from making the elites, the big entities, incentivize them to do the right thing, to do the sort of investments that will genuinely help the economy, right? Very far away from that, right? And so to see a major family group to actually do those things without incentives, because it's the right thing to do, it's very encouraging. And it's one of the reasons why I do this show, is to share that there's massive investments happening in the country. And it's not just a one-sided event, oh, the elites are this and that. No, there's that many entities doing the right thing, right? And we need to support that. Because obviously the Haitian government is not going to support them, right? So what I challenge you to do, my friends, is to buy some Rhum Bakara, right? Go ahead and buy some Rhum Bakara. Let me type that in for you. Maybe some folks who don't know what Rhum Bakara is. Let me type that in for you. Rhum Bakara. And support them more. They're tasty, very delicious drinks, let me tell you. But then support them. Because when you see a large Haitian company, right, doing the right thing and not just importing their product, but instead investing in the country, providing jobs, and investing in the entire supply chain of the country. That is how Haiti changes. That is how Haiti becomes a place that's livable for all Haitians, right? And so hats off to Rhum Bakara. They are a Haitian company. A lot of people are shocked to hear this. They're a Haitian company run by Haitians, and now officially in Haiti, producing 100% of their Rhum Bakara in Haiti, right? Employing Haitians and improving the value chain. So you guys are more than free to consume Rhum Bakara, knowing that it's a Haitian drink. All right. Next news stories has to do with international aid. We have Japan. Japan's providing 179 million good, equivalent to about 2 million USD, to build 3 housing units for PNH. That's one big demand of the police. The police have been protesting and asking for improvements in salary, improvements in living conditions, improvement in health, has been housing. A lot of these police officers will spend their whole days in the streets, confronting very bad people. And then at the end of the day, they have to go back to this very same hoods and bidonvilles and ghettos that they just spent the entire day arresting, potentially. A lot of these police officers lose their lives because of that. And one of the big asks of the Haitian police has been, give us a place to live where we aren't potentially going to be menaced by the very same people who we're having to arrest and keep the general population safe from. And so this $2 million is going to go to building 3 housing units for PNH. And that's going to be about, the goal in general is to produce about 600 affordable units of housing, and in around Delma 33 and Wu Chabonnier. So I'm saying it wrong, so excuse me. And it's going to be a village, and this village is going to have units that are 750 square feet. For my folks who know real estate out there, that's a little bit on the smaller side, to be honest, but it's going to have 2 bedrooms, a living room, a dining room, right? In addition to the village is going to have playgrounds, gyms, shops, private and public parking. And so, 750 is on the smaller side, but, the fact of reality is a lot of them are living in living conditions that are just as small and smaller, but don't even have any real security on top of that. These villages are going to be electrified, at least get priority in electricity. I laugh because I'm going on 2.5 weeks now without electricity here where I live. Of course, I'm talking to you right now because I have 8 solar panels, 12 batteries, 2 backup generators. So I'm my own powerhouse here. That's why I can function in the country. So I laugh at that part of the statement. Oh, they're going to have electricity. What does that mean? Prioritize electricity. What does that really mean? It means if everyone is getting 3 hours of electricity a day, they'll get 4. I laugh, but it's a sad state of affairs, I tell you. But we're going to talk. We have electricity further along in the newscast, so stay tuned. We'll re-engage in that. And also, there's been some talks, not more than talks, there's some level of action as it relates to housing, not only for police, but for nurses and teachers as well, because they're also very important to the fabric of Haitian society in particular. And there's already been a site identified around Delma 75, an old military aviation facility around that area. And that's going to be converted to social housing as well. And I can tell you that one of the things that Haiti lacks tremendously, and other countries in the Caribbean, for example, have done a very good job of, is housing, social housing. Particularly Jamaica has done exceptionally well for its citizens, even though for a while there those social housings were weaponized. A lot of gang violence has roots to the politicalization and weaponization of social housing in Jamaica, for example. But nonetheless, you don't have the amount of shanty towns and bidonvilles that exist in Haiti, because the government did take responsibility for housing its poorest people, and giving these people a pathway out of poverty into work and employment. And in Haiti, any path forward for Haiti is going to involve a government that creates real housing, real humane living conditions for Haitians. Because right now, when you go to Cité Soleil, when you go to Village de Dieu, when you go to Saline, when you go to Matissan, so many of these homes are just drive around Haitians, barely, sticks and stone, held together, living facilities. There's a problem here, right? And a functioning government will provide housing, real housing, to their poorest citizens, right? And at a reduced rate, equal to their capacity to pay. And so it is a very important step, a step that I'm happy to see finally is happening in Haiti. There's been iterations of social housing. In fact, the largest development was under my time, Martelly, in fact, out in the Quadruple Care area, which really didn't go anywhere. And in fact, is really an embarrassment, because it's a massive community in the middle of nowhere. And there's supposed to be additional facilities built around schools, grocery stores, stability of the ecosystem for this facility. Right now, it's just homes in the middle of nowhere, Quadruple, right? But in any case, certainly hope to see more housing in Haiti, and particularly let's place them in areas where there is already some ecosystem that exists. And so that's that news story. The USAID is moving forward with engaging farmers. The USAID is partnering with the Haitian Foundation for Sustainable Agricultural Development Distribution, short for FONDAD. FONDAD is the short acronym. And what they're doing is they're actually providing pea seeds, helping with pea seeds in Plan du Dessac region. And for folks who don't know where that is, that's basically very north of Port-au-Prince. It's part of Port-au-Prince itself, but it's on the very northern side, like northern airport, very northern side, a lot of wide open fields over there. And they're providing opportunities for farmers there to plant pea seeds. Now, the foundation already, and this is the past few months, had worked with 100 farmers to harvest over 50,000 tons of peas, valued at around $215,000 over the past few months, right? And that's by themselves, without any assistance. The USAID is now stepping in, right? The USAID is stepping in and providing additional funding, additional capacity to fund I. We look forward to seeing what they'll be able to do with that additional resources. They're also helping with helping solidifying or helping support, is a better word, for training best practices for these farmers in the program that they're having. And additionally, these farmers are going to have access to credit, which is important. These farmers can borrow, for example, fertilizer to help improve the yield. And then once they sell their product, they will return that money at a very, very low interest rate, by the way. And that's how they get access to future rounds of credit, by paying off. Harold. I saw Harold say GMO. No, not GMO. Just old school, poo Beth fertilizer, right? Just dung, poo of cows, for example, fertilizer. Old school fertilizer, right? Non-GMO. Don't worry. Haitians are very anti-GMO. That's one of the reasons, if you're ever buying anything from Haiti, know that you're consuming a anti-GMO, all-natural product. Right? So you should always look for, you can buy raw Haitian products, and even if it's a little more pricey, you should, because not only are you going to be supporting Haitian agriculture, but also it's going to be better for your body. You're not getting these chemicals and stuff. But thanks for bringing that up there as a question. Right? And so that's the news when it comes to USAID. The Catastrophic Caribbean Risk Insurance Facility has stepped up with a 3.5 million, $7.45 million disbursement of funds to Haiti because of the tropical storm Laura came through just a few weeks ago, just yesterday. In fact, I was on air doing the Haiti Biz News episode while the the tropical storm was going on outside. By the way, the total damage from the Hurricane Laura was 31 dead, 8 missing, 44,000 people were affected. 8,000 were lost some sort of property or damage of homes. Specifically, 6,000 homes were flooded, and another 2,000 had just damage as relates to hurricane or things falling on their homes, stuff like that. And a straight up 243 were just destroyed, totally unlivable anymore. And of course, we had flooding at Toussaint Louverture International Airport in Port-au-Prince, right? And then we had many roads and bridges damaged and destroyed or blocked, right? And of course, the massive destruction of a lot of agricultural products and crops, death of livestock, for example. And so these funds, $7.445 million, is supposed to go to help with FAEZ, which is the economic assistance arm of Haitian government, to help provide food and distributive aid. It's going to go to helping a lot of those affected with their homes to be able to get money and products, building materials to rebuild their property and homes, and also for the Haitian government and some of the expenses they've spent in responding. So their budget, which is already woefully inaccurate, especially stress given which has happened recently, to get a bit of budgetary assistance back to them, right? And so that is where the fund is. And by the way, this is an insurance program run by the Caribbean Bank, and the Haitian government pays somewhere around $3.5 million a year to participate in it. And the reason why is that any insurance, it provides a guaranteed disbursement based on the amount of damage that may have happened, and it's much quicker. Where between the international aid community, going through donation campaigns, and only a small trickle of it actually getting to the Haitian population, this is usually just a few days after, or in this case, a few weeks after a major event. And this insurance premium is usually some of the first funds that are able to hit Haiti and help, in the response, right? That the Haitian government uses to help impact responses, right? Now, of course, I'm always for proper auditing and knowing where every dollar of the Haitian government money goes, as the Haitian government does have a terrible track record of doing what they need to do with money. But nonetheless, the concept, so much in Haiti, the concept is appropriate, and we can report on the facts of how the money is supposed to be used, as I just mentioned, until we find out that it's been used alternatively, and we'll report on that as well, like Petrocaribe, right? The next international aid story has to do with the ECHO program, the European Union. The European Union and the International Organization for Migration, the IOM, are supporting the Ministry of Public Health with the repair of vehicles that are owned by the National Ambulance Center, and they're in effect repairing ambulances that are used by the Haitian state to help Haitians who are obviously hurt and in need. By the way, Haiti has somewhere around 90 ambulances, state ambulances. Unfortunately, many of them have not been maintained. Only a small fraction of those ambulances are even in service right now. And so the ECHO program is geared to helping get a good chunk of those ambulances functioning again. Okay, right. Excuse me, guys. Get that out of here. All right, thanks. So that's that news story. DENEPA has received 6.5 million USD from a Spanish cooperation, ACID Spain, right? And this I got distracted because I realized I was streaming live on my on my 4G, and that's like, darn it, because you only have so much internet data from that shit on my Wi-Fi. Any case, I'm back. Oh, the pains of Haiti internet. You have to worry about data limits. That's one thing. You guys in America are so blessed, when it comes to. I mean, my internet in the office is fiber. I don't have internet limits, but my mobile isn't. It's I only have so many gigabytes per month. I'm gonna have to see how much this put me down back at. But in any case, sorry, sidebar. Sidebar. So DENEPA, 6.5 million USD from the U.S. Spanish cooperative ACID Spain. Funds are going to be used specifically. Now, if you don't know, is they're focused on the Haitian entity that actually I can tell you one of the few Haitian public work entities I have a lot of respect for. They've really been doing just very quietly a lot of good work. I mean, even in this area that I've been in, I know more and more areas that are connected by public water, right? Which blows a lot of people's minds who really know Haiti, because they know most of Haiti is you got to order water trucks to pour water into a hole in the ground on your property, which you then pump up to the ceiling, and you put it in something called a chateau, and then you take showers and wash your hands, and then when it gets low, you have to pump it back up. And that's people who are financially, okay. And most people it's the water is in the property, and they got to use buckets, and they take the buckets out and they use it to shower and stuff like that, right? And so, and the fact when I tell them, actually more and more of Haiti metro area are getting piped clean water. Clean water is actually cleaner than the water tank water into their homes. A lot of people, they don't believe me. They think I'm full of it, but it's the truth, right? Which is fantastic. And DENEPA has been a part of that. So, and they've been relatively free of accusations of corruption. And so 6.5 million is going from the Spanish cooperation, and it's going to be, and DENEPA is going to be investing in that in Ish, Central Plateau. As you folks know, Ish is the capital city of the Central Department in Haiti. In fact, I have an episode on Seejeanty of Ish. You guys should check it out. We were out there for a conference, and we made sure to swing by the city and take a look at it. Ish, by the way, is very historic. It's the hometown of Charlemagne. Yeah, Charlemagne, very important cacao fighter who fought against the Haitian occupation, U.S. occupation of Haiti. All right. So he's a very important hero. He should be on every dollar bill of Haiti. Someone who embodies what it means to be Haitian, a fighter to the end, even when the odds are against you, you still fight. Unfortunately, he was killed by the U.S. But nonetheless, he put an incredible long effort, and ultimately he wasn't killed strictly by the U.S. Unfortunately, the U.S. paid a Haitian informant to basically provide false information and put him in a vulnerable position to be killed. But in any case, that's a little impromptu history lesson about Ish. But Ish will be receiving $6.5 million from the Spanish corporation ACID, right? Long live Charlemagne. So, and the next news story has to do with telecommunications, as I mentioned. Telecommunication has NatCom. NatCom was celebrating a milestone in terms of the amount of time they've been in the country. But more importantly, they were celebrating getting 3 million subscribers. I'm gonna say that again, 3 million subscribers in Haiti. They have over 800 different physical locations across the country, in addition to 500 kilometers of fiber optic cables, right? Additionally, they are employing 1,300 direct jobs and 1,700 indirect jobs, with thousands of additional 1,000 independent subscription providers in the equivalent of Papadops, where you can go and they sell minutes of telephone and data. You just give them a couple good and you can load up minutes. And they're part of that network. They have their own network of Papadops who handle those sort of transactions. And by the way, they're owned by the Vietnamese government and the Haitian government partnership. Over 40% of the government owns 40% of NatCom, and they generally receive about 142 million in dividends. Right? They've received since the inception of the partnership $142 million. I'm sorry, this is the proper way to present that. Right? Since inception, they've given $142 million of dividends since inception. Right? So which has been a very lucrative business for the Haitian government, right? And of course, they actually used it where it should go. We applaud that even louder, right? But right? Electricity. If I talk about that, electricity work has apparently started as relates to the $150 million that Taiwan has given the Haitian government to improve the Metro Port-au-Prince area power, and that started back on the 6th of September. So we're getting actual workers now working, and equipment, and the work is being done on the metro area. The electrical network is being worked and being improved upon, and that started. Even though, again, I have it, as I mentioned, I'm going on 2.5 weeks here with no electricity in my office or home. Of course, I'm talking to you now because I have 8 solar panels, 12 batteries, and it is because of and 2 backup generators that allows me to function my business. And then many entities, if you're in Haiti, you have to make these sort of investments. Tens of thousands of dollars I've spent in fortifying my property, in personal. I don't even talk about my apartment where I live, but my actual business facility to be electricity solvent. And a lot of folks who criticize the price of hotels and things like that, they don't understand how expensive it is to do business in Haiti, right? Where you compare the Bahamas and other places, they're plugging into public subsidized water and public subsidized electricity, to begin with. And but in any case, that's good news, right? That's good news that we are getting some progress, at least on paper, even though I can tell you that the electricity situation has actually gotten worse since the start of this focus of the Haitian government from Jovenel Moise to improve. I remember we went just July was so bad the first time. EDH actually said, "Yeah, we realized we weren't giving you power. We're not even going to charge you for the month of July. We're not even the minimum amount that they'll charge you, even if you got no electricity. They will still charge you a quote unquote minimum, a service minimum. So even that they didn't charge. That's how bad it was. And I suspect this month is fastly approaching to be equally as bad, right? Equally as bad. And so, electricity is something that, even if I did have faith in the Haitian government to do a large infrastructure project like this, it is something that takes easily a decade to get right. And since King Moise will be hopefully not around in 2022 anymore. When I say hopefully, not that I particularly care whether or not he stays around or not. I say that in a way to say hopefully he's not trying to be a dictator and stick around longer. A lot of people are saying he is. I don't believe that, to be quite honest with you. But so that's what to be clear where that's coming from. That hopefully statement coming from. And this program continuing assumes that he will be able to get his predecessor elected, right? Whoever is representing PHTK, to be elected, so this work can continue, right? So we'll see, right? And the last news story has to do with Noyami. Oh, I'm sorry. Noami. Why am I saying it wrong? Naomi Osaka. All right, there we go. I said it real quick, right? Wins the third U.S. Open. It just sounded weird in my ears, like I was eating one of the letters or something. Won her third U.S. Open, right? 1-6, 6-3, 6-1 against former number one Victoria. Now that's a name I can't say. Azarenka. And won it yesterday. So big props to Naomi Osaka. She is truly Haiti's daughter. We are so proud to have Naomi representing. I mean, she represents us. No one asked her. We don't force them. We Haitians, we love to force Haitiness on people. And she's cleared up. She has cleared up many times. Like it's some, there'll be reporters and they'll realize, well, you're Japanese American, right? You're Japanese born and you grew up in America. You're Japanese American, right? She's always very clear to say, I am Japanese Haitian, who just so happened to grow up in America, right? Or spend a lot of time in America, right? Very clear, right? And she's visited Haiti, and she's, her father has schools in Jacmel, I believe, and even a full-time sports facility that teaches tennis around the year. And Naomi has actually flown to Haiti and done tennis camps, right? And she's always someone who's very much speaking of and pushing, making it clear Haitians are beautiful people, and Haiti is a country that, yes, it has its problems, but it's a country that shouldn't be thrown away. It should be looked into, investigated, and appreciate the beauty that exists, right? And so hats off to Naomi. I'm so happy that she's won, and it's not necessarily business-related news, but this is news I'll very gladly take time out of our stream and report. Naomi winning her third U.S. Open, and so she's fast on her way to becoming Serena Williams 2.0. So hats off to Serena Williams, right? And that is the newscast. Knocked it out. I didn't take my usual breaks to read the comments. I'm going to hop and read the comments in just a second, because remember, I had 2 weeks. I was 2 weeks worth of news I went through there. It took just an hour plus to go through. I was already like 45 minutes when I started going into it. So I better stick to the news stories today and kind of go through it. Right. So thanks for your patience, those who commented and wanted to feel. I'm about to go in just a moment. But that's the entire news there. I think that was very informative for me and therapeutic for me to share with you some of the stuff happening. As you can see, there's a lot of real development happening in Haiti. There's some real things that, where else would you have gotten this news? Where else would you have gotten the information to know that Rhum Bakara has constructed a 60,000 square foot facility? Where else do you get information about, that the PNH is building or is being built 3 housing facilities, right? The goal is to get 600 Haitian police officers' homes, right? Where else are you going to get that the USAID is helping empower farmers? And there's already an organization called Funda who has helped plant 50 tons, and actually not plant, actually, harvest 60 tons of peas that have gotten 100 farmers $215,000, right? So this is the sort of news, that it takes. I make sure, no one else. There's no one else that is sharing this news, man, right? And that's why, hopefully, we're going to keep doing this. This is going to be, even if it's not me talking to you guys, right? actually formalize this and get Haiti Biz News on its own website, on its own YouTube channel. And I want actual journalists. I'm not a journalist. Actual journalists, not only providing updates, but doing independent reporting and really becoming a source that we don't have here in Haiti. We don't have a Haiti-based, and it will be different languages too. What I envision for Haiti Biz News is really multiple languages in addition to English, French, Creole especially, right? Where it will be a one-stop shop for folks to get their news, business-related news, not that political crap. I mean, we'll engage politics only as far as it affects the business climate, which the political nonsense always does, right? That's always as far as we'll go with it. We're not here to do political dissections, analysis. There's every place online exists for that. Haitians love to talk politics. Every Haitian has a political science degree, it feels like, but yet our country is the worst run political entity on the planet, right? Minus Iraq and Afghanistan, like war-torn places. Out of a peacetime area, country, our politics is the worst. Yet everyone has a political opinion. Everyone, even people in my chat right now, there are people giving me opinions about what's needed for Haiti. But if everyone was so astute, I'm being very annoyed here, because I am. Everybody and their mother has an opinion on Haitian politics, right? But yet our political system is garbage, right? Something's wrong, right? So that's why the focus here is not politics. It's on the thing that actually can empower and improve the country, which is the entrepreneurship, economics, and who's doing things and what's being done to help the economic situation in the country. We're doing real things to help empower the economic situation. Notice something before I read the comments. I want you to notice something, guys. Of everything I just talked about today, did you notice anywhere where I mentioned the Haitian government was doing anything? On most days on Haiti Biz News, I may mention one. DENEPA, but even then, DENEPA is getting their money from Spain, right? Once in a while, I'll mention the Minister of Agriculture. Minister of Agriculture is probably the most consistent entity that is doing things in Haiti consistently, no matter what's going on, to improve and empower. But unfortunately, the Minister of Agriculture, they have received year over year less and less percentage of the budget, right? Despite they're doing important things, and as we know, there is no future in Haiti without agriculture being put at the forefront, right? They've received less and less of the budget to do less and less, right? But despite that, they've are the only entity really consistently that I report. Since I didn't report this week, I'm sure next week I'll have something to report that the Ministry of Agriculture is doing. So I have a lot of respect for the Ministry of Agriculture. I have a lot of respect for DENEPA, as I mentioned. DENEPA is one of the few institutions I see firsthand that, oh, that's DENEPA. Oh, DENEPA's here. Oh, I said DENEPA. Oh, wow, DENEPA's doing that, right? Just on my day-to-day life that I see that DENEPA's doing stuff, right? And but today, for example, out of all I've talked about, we have private actors doing things. We have international aid organization doing things, but the Haitian government is always absent from development, right? Of course, I did mention that, $150 million, the electricity, the work is starting to be done. Okay. But I also mentioned that I'm on 2.5 weeks of no power, no electricity in my office or home, which is why it's hard for me to count or be happy or celebrate that activity, given the reality is I've been without electricity, and not just me, my whole area here has been without electricity. And unfortunately for me, I have solar panels and batteries and generators, so I'm never really I'm never really without electricity. But my neighbor doesn't have a generator. In fact, my neighbor, they use my sockets here to charge up their phones and radios and little devices here every day, right? Because they don't have electricity in their home, right? And I'm not gonna, I'm a community player, and I allow them to charge their small devices in my office. I have a specific place right outside, and I purchased a very large prise, as they say. What do you call that? An extension, where they can plug, multiple people in the community can plug their phones so they can receive, because the phone is the lifeline for every person, especially Haitians. You can plug their phones and other little smart devices. Right? At least I can do, since the state isn't doing what it needs to be doing. Right? And so I just wanted to make sure you guys noted that. Right? There's a lot of activity and things moving forward, but if everyone focuses only on the Haitian government, the corruption, the ineptitude, the participation in malfeasance, right? Then of course you're only going to have a negative image of Haiti. So that's why I report the news. And the news, not that I'm going out my way to avoid or not talk about the Haitian government. No, whatever they do, I'll mention. But notice how when you have a show that focuses on what's going on in the country and what's moving the country forward, notice how very few of what you talk about will be the Haitian government. It's going to be the private sector, the international aid community, X, Y, and Z. That's happening, and it is happening. Yeah, it needs to be clear. It is happening. Okay. All right. So let's hop into the deep dive into the chat. So much people have commented today. I want to give you guys your respects. You guys have watched so far. You guys have commented as I've been talking, and as I mentioned, we read everything. Whether I agree with you or not, we read it. And so, it looks like I'm actually limited in terms of how far back I can go. So excuse me if I'm starting, and I don't see your comments. I do excuse me. Unfortunately, just the software I'm using only has gone up so far. Seems I'm only getting the messages from about an hour and 15 minutes ago. So do excuse me. All right, let's get started. All right, this is Haiti Says. It's a big scandal going on in Haiti where the journalists play a heavy hand. There's more murders in Chicago in the weekend than a murder in Haiti. So please stop. Absolutely. Thanks. This is Haiti. Thank you for mentioning that. We talked about that on the last episode. Even though I was talking about insecurity, there is tremendously when you compare Haiti with the crime rates of other Caribbean countries, where we are year over year. Excuse me. We are year over year the safest country in terms of violence that against each other, against it's happening in the country, violent acts. And of course, the people right away, well, you can't really trust Haitian numbers. They can barely pay Haiti numbers. But this is not Haiti reporting it. This is the United Nations reporting it. And trust me, as a lot of people, those same people who are saying that probably have a big distrust of the United Nations, right, as an international body. So this is coming from the same entity that you probably think doesn't have Haiti's interests in mind. They're the same ones, right, who are saying Haiti has the lowest acts of violence, is the safest country in the Caribbean. Right? Remember, the UN, they sent peacekeepers here because of the instability. They've been reporting that Haiti has the lowest acts of violence in the entire Caribbean. So that's number one. And what the amount of violence and deaths and murders that happens in 1 month in Haiti, right, happens on a typical weekend in Chicago. In Chicago, I'm not even talking about cumulatively, right? But in Chicago, you don't take my word for it. Just Google News last weekend, and you'll get 50 people shot and 30 some odd murders, right? But again, it's not a competition. I'm just letting you know that as much as Haiti gets people like Jay George saying, "Oh, I don't want $500,000, but I don't want to be killed," but it's the same guy that's probably living in some place that down the street there were 5 murders. Okay, all right. I'm picking on Jay George, because Jay George is a big guy. He can take the pain. But secondly, there's a lot of people who think like that, and so, I really got to change that, man, because I can tell you, the fundamental issue of Black people across the planet, not Haitians, Black people across the planet, is that they're the first to talk bad about themselves, right? They're the first to say, I'm not going to live here because I fear this, right? But yet Asians, yet Mexicans, yet every other social in Native Americans, you name it, they may be living in a violent place, but they continue to invest in an area. They continue to own businesses in the area. They continue to own land in an area. They continue to educate those in an area. Right? And they continue to allow the second generation to come back who's more educated, who's more financially astute, and build up those areas. There's a reason why gentrification can't happen in Little Hong Kong, can't happen in Little China, because the little Chinese, or the Chinese in those areas, own everything and have a sense of community, and they don't buy into that their fellow person, their fellow community member isn't a human being and they should go away. I've had arguments in comments, right, where I'm not afraid to not, whatever image you may think of me and you see me on doing Seejeanty on locations, I will go in at you on comments, right? And no matter how big I get, I will go in on people who have very perverted ways of thinking that I don't believe in blocking unless you're being a disturbance, right? You're saying, or you're spamming or something. I've only blocked 2 people and they're spammers, right, in the chat, right? I won't disagree with you. I won't block you because you disagree with me. I won't block you if you call me fat or call me names. I'm a big boy. I can take criticism. I'm sorry. I can call me whatever you want to call me. I'm a big boy. I can take it and I laugh at it, right? I will take time out of my day, especially if I have time. Like, oh, you got me at I got time today, right? If I have time, right? And have debates with people who have perverted minds. When I say perverted, I mean who really are quick to throw away Haiti, throw away the entire community of Haiti because of the Haitian government. Rightly or wrongly, Haitian government is a cyst, is a leech, is a help me with words. You got words. You guys know what I'm trying to say. They are a weight to the Haitian society as a whole, right? And of course, there's elements bad in the society, as there is in bandits and X, Y, and Z in the society. But I am not going to throw away the entire bathwater with the baby because of a few elements, right? Because I understand at the end of the day, the entire Haitian society is dependent upon me and other people who are acting, because the only way any group of people are able to ever improve themselves, you understand, is when they continue to invest in their communities and push forward and find others who are like-minded and work together to improve the lot, right? The worst Haitian, in my opinion, right, and the less human Haitian to me, the Haitian I have no respect for. It's not even bandits. It's not kidnappers, right? It's not even the Haitian politicians, though I have very little respect for them. The person I hold at the lowest level, in my opinion, this is my opinion. Disagree with me, that's fine. This is just my opinion. I'm a human being. I can have an opinion, right? Can I have an opinion? Can I share my opinion to you? I'm not sharing. You should have this opinion. I'm just saying this is my opinion, right? My opinion. The lowest level denominator Haitian to me is the Haitian who doesn't invest a dime, doesn't believe Haiti is worth saving, believes Haiti is a castaway nation. And on top of that, instead of just going on your business, okay, cool, you believe that? Quittez-nous à repos. Leave us alone. Quittez-nous. It's like, for example, it's like you come to somebody's home, you talk bad about somebody, you say, this is the worst home I've ever been in. But then you come back. Why are you spending time on a pro-Haiti channel to cast aspersions in a community of people who are trying to move the country forward? I don't understand that, right? And that's who I have very little respect for. A lot of Haitians who, quote unquote, Haitians by name only, I call them Hainos, Haitians in name only, Hainos, who say they're Haitian, but yet spend every waking moment talking bad about other Haitians, right? And actively working on discouraging any investment or any dollar or any activity in the country by repeating the worst aspects of Haiti and the narrative Haiti has given upon us, right? Because no Jewish person, there's places you go to Israel right now, you'll be robbed. There's places you go to Israel right now, you will be killed. You will be stabbed. There's dangerous places in Israel. But do you think there will be a single Jewish person who repeats the shit? Who repeats that crap? Who repeats the negativity? No, because they understand this is family business. This is family business, and family's going to take care of it, right? Family business, and family's going to take care of it. Yeah, we have problems. Haiti has problems, but it's family business. Same reason you don't put your sister's dirt on the street. You don't put your parents' dirt on the street. It's family business, and you work on improving as a family. Every other group of people understand that. They understand this is family business. We're not going to put our dirt on the street. We're going to work actively to fix that problem as a family. Black people don't understand that. And Haitians, as part of the larger Black people and thus have the same ailments of Black people, don't understand that. That's just the reality. And honestly, Haiti won't change. Haiti won't change until two things happen. Our Haitian government changes, and the Haitian diaspora who are infected by this mentality of inappropriately disparaging their country totally change, right? You know, there's two important elements, the left hand and the right hand, that are weighing the country down, in my opinion. So let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Nick Mawon, what is up? What is up, Nick Mawon? Always a pleasure to see you, bro. What's up, man? I hope you're still here. If you weren't still here, happy that you were here. Glenda K, what's up? What's up? Oh, Cancer in the house. Virgo in the house. What's up? What's up? That's why I like you too. Animated Decisions as well as a Virgo there. Canal David says that 60 people are on the live, but there's 24 likes. What's up, man? Like it. Like it. I feel you, Canal. I feel you, bro. Cancer's the best people. I agree. Nate last year, what is up, man? Yeah, went to Jago, had a good trip, had a great time, man. You know, again, it's on my IG page as a story. Do check that out. Aries, I don't know. I'm not speaking bad about any other signs. Honestly, I just know about Virgos and Cancers, and I'm cool with them. That's it. Can't speak positively or negatively about anyone else. Animated says Haiti needs to make a reparation program for their citizens. I agree. I totally agree. Banju says, are you a Haitian nationalist? I'm a Haitian nationalist in so much that I do believe Haiti needs to be a place where Haitians can live. I do believe in a Haiti first narrative, right? I do believe in a Haiti first narrative. America first, Haiti first. But at the same time, too, I would never and will never and will become an activist for the rights of non-Haitians to do business and live in Haiti, and to invest in Haiti, because at the end of the day, we need the expertise that other people can bring in addition to our diaspora. And in particular, if you know the history of Haiti, Haiti was a place for all Black people, no matter where you may came from, to be. In fact, the first one of Haiti's first constitutions by Dessalines. In fact, there wasn't even such thing as Haitian. That wasn't a thing. It was a country of Haiti, but people were called Black people. Period. Right? And so long, if you were Black and you landed on Haiti shores, you were a citizen. Period. Right? And so, when you ask me that question, am I a Haitian nationalist? I am a Haitian nationalist in so much of the earliest vision of Haiti, which was as a space for disaffected Black people to be, live, and free. And then simultaneously, just like Dessalines, as much as he's cast to be a genocidist, he only had an issue with white French people, given what they did to Haitians during the war. I mean, their stories were white Frenchmen were feeding Haitians to dogs, Don't take my word. Research this. This is research. I mean, the most heinous acts that you can imagine during the Independence War, the French would do against Haitians that they would find. Right. So he was scarred mentally from the acts that he saw done. Right? And I'm not justifying this. I'm just saying that's context. Context is important. But understand too, any other white person, Dessalines had no issues with. Dessalines actually gave amnesty into Haitian citizenship to the Polish, to the Germans, to the Americans, white Germans, white Polish. If you are an ally had as much right as Black Haitians. Right? And so when you ask me, am I Haitian nationalist? I'm a Haitian nationalist to the extent that Dessalines was. Dessalines believed in allies that could help Haiti advance, and Haiti being a space for all Black people across the world to live, and be free and contribute to a place where Black people could finally live without persecution, without fear of being killed by police, without every statistic in terms of longevity and maternity, birthing kids and babies. And this is American stats, right? America, every stat that's negative, Black people are leading the stats, and everything that's good, we're in the back. Haiti was supposed to be a place, Haiti one day hopefully will be a place where those statistics isn't a thing. Black people as a whole are doing better, right? And I'm Haitian nationalist. If that's how you define Haitian nationalism, that's how I define Haitian nationalism. That is what I would define myself to be, right? Henry Roman, what's up? Félicitations. Je vois, il y a un gens qui veut changer l'image négative d'Haïti. Bravo. Continuez à motiver la diaspora à investir en Haïti. Merci. Bravo encore. Oh, your boy can speak a little French too. What y'all boys think about that? Your boy can speak a little French too. Henry Roman, thank you, brother. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Ruler Moulier et Malbranche says, I'm all for investments as they create jobs, but I would like to see more investments in other sectors of services in Haiti besides alcohol consumption. I agree with, I want investments in every sector. But so Rulis, I agree with you, every sector. And still, even the alcohol sector, it might be a little, it's not necessarily a healthy thing, right? But there's still a lot of room to grow there. I'll be honest. In America, how many beer brands do you have? You have an entire, you go to any station, a gas station. You go in France, half of grocery stores are for red wine, right? Made in France, right? You go to California, same thing. Half of grocery stores, there's rows and rows of wine made in California, right? And so in Haiti, we only have 2 rum makers, really, right? Major rum makers, Rhum Bakara, and there's some clay makers, but so I think even that we have plenty of space to grow, our nationalness even there, right? But of course, I agree with you. We should have across the board investments. I agree with you, right? Okay, Black Millennial says conversation going on with Canal David. All right, let's see what else is going on here. Let's see. George Dave says, says something about a school. My schools will take a different approach from the Eurocentric system. Students will immerse from technology, African studies, English. Okay, what's up? Jay George mentioned he's going to build a school and he's going to have a very different way of teaching and focus and emphasis. Jay George, make it happen. Make it happen, my brother. Make it happen. I need you to act. I need you to act, my man. That's exactly what we need. So please start making some inroads. We need that sort of school in Haiti. Okay. All right. Esther Jancy is in the house. Esther, my wife, is wishing me a special special day. I didn't want to necessarily publicize it per se, but just for you guys to know. And I am today is my birthday. It's mentioned as my Virgo, and so nonetheless, for me, I'm not doing anything special. I don't believe in birthday parties. There's people who who do birthday month. It's my birthday month. I don't believe in that. I'm just happy to be alive. I'm happy to be in a position where I can work. Have my full faculties, my full limbs. I have my health. And that's really all I ask God to give me, and a little bit of luck. And I'll take care of the work. I'll take care of the rest by working. Right? I say I'll take care of the rest by working. Because as the expression goes, help. I always say, God, help me help myself. And so, new year of life, and it's just another day to work. And hopefully, the biggest birthday present I'm gonna give myself today is I think I just may finish the book today, first draft, right? And so that might be a massive birthday achievement for myself, which is we're gonna work on as soon as I finish up this live. But thank you, baby, for that. I appreciate it. Right? Let's see. Bonjour, capitalism has failed Haiti. Yeah, I mean, but let's qualify it, because Bonjour says capitalism has failed Haiti. Let's quantify that. Let's qualify that a little bit. First, to say, capitalism isn't this big overbearing thing that is independent of us, right? When you drive around Haiti and you see those with money and what they choose to build, right? Like, for example, even Haitian adults, parents, what do they choose to build? They choose to, spend their money to build homes, retirement homes. Others with a little more money build hotels. They build bar restos. They build gas stations, right? They build, they decide to do importation of dooms and containers for resale, right? They don't choose to work together and pool their resources and pool their capacities together. And capitalism is the sum whole of many actors. A lot of people like to say capitalism and say, just the elites and the Western world's corporate entities that are, that's capitalism. Capitalism is actually, that is only 20% of capitalism. The other 80% are you and me. What do we choose? The many individual people who are acting and existing in that economy, and what we choose to participate in. And until we change how we do capitalism, that will be a failed. That will be a true statement. Capitalism has failed Haiti. You're right. But let's ask ourselves why it has failed. And when you talk to other Haitians, and you find out how other Haitians, most people don't know the big families. They just know a guy who's doing something in Haiti. When you ask that guy, so what you doing in Haiti, man? Oh yeah, I'm importing some stuff, man. What are you doing in Haiti? Yeah, I'm building a retirement home out there, man. What are you doing in Haiti? Yeah, I'm doing all these unproductive things. What you should be hearing is, yeah, man, we had some land and we've basically structured it to where there's an association on that land, and they're using that land. They're paying us a rent, and they're using that land to build, to sell, products agriculturally. What you want to hear is, yeah, you know what? I had a property, and I've converted to a warehouse, which I actually buy local products, and then I put them on boats and planes, and I sell them in America. I put them on boats and planes, and I sell them in Canada. I put them on boats and planes, and I sell them in Mexico. I put them on boats and planes, and I sell them in France. I get stuff that's in Haiti, and I sell it across the world, right? You will rarely meet a Haitian that has that vision and that has that idea, right? But yet, that same Haitian will then say capitalism has failed Haiti. Capitalism has failed Haiti because Haitians have failed Haiti. Haitians are participating in whole with the wrong style, mentality, vision, and styles of business. That's one reason why I can't wait to release 101 ways to make business in Haiti or do business in Haiti, because the vast majority of these ideas, I did recognize, I have no choice but to recognize, for example, importation as something that can make money. Because you can't have 101 ways to make money and not mention importation. But even when I do, I'll give you a little spoiler alert. Even when I do, I mention and say, okay, what can we do to value add that importation? What does that mean? You can import something, but why can't you maybe assemble it? Right? Maybe bring in the parts and assemble it and use Haitians to assemble and give jobs. And now you're giving jobs, right? Why not import it, but package it in something different? Package it differently, right? And that packaging process uses Haitian labor, right? So there's ways, even importation, to do it in a way you're value additioning, right? Nothing's wrong with importation on its face value if you're adding value to that imported product. And that process of adding value to imported product adds value to your economy. Haitians don't understand that either. But yet Haitians will gleefully write, oh, capitalism is failing, as if they have no part in it, as if your parents don't have a part in it. Your parents who built retirement homes don't have a part in it, as if your cousins who are building, just properties or a bar resto, to hang out and chill, they don't have a part in it. You have a part in it. I'm sorry, if you're a Haitian, right, and you're not doing, first off, you're Haitian, not doing anything at all, you have a part in it, right, because you're not engaging, even though you believe you understand what's wrong with the country. You're not impacting with your vision to make the country better. So you're part of it, number one, even if you're not doing anything. And the other vast amount of people who are doing something, you're a part of it as well, because you're doing the wrong thing. Think about that. Let's keep going. Kimberly Pierre Paul says, will you be including anything real about real estate in your book? Absolutely. Absolutely, I will. There will be a whole section on real estate. Okay, and we talk about the pitfalls of buying land. And actually, I even break down the process. I break down the process, and not too intensely now, but I give an overview of what the process, how it looks to buy land in Haiti. Because so many people have reached out to me, and one of the top questions they ask me is real estate in Haiti. And even though I make it very clear, even in the book, don't do it unless you're genuinely connected with the society. One of the most dangerous things and things you will lose your money the quickest is real estate. So I advise you not to do it. I advise you to do something else. And once you become familiar with the country and how it really works, to then buy land. But if your very first transaction after living so many years abroad or never having any engagement in Haiti your number one idea is to buy land, don't do it. Don't invest. Don't come to Haiti. Don't impact any activity in Haiti. That's the wrong way to go about it. And you're just going to become another statistic. Someone talking bad about the country because you did something I advise you not to do, which is don't come to Haiti and just buy land. Haiti doesn't work that way. But in any case, I do go into it, and you're going to find that very value added, Kimberly. So thank you for asking that question. Right. Okay. I'm just going through here. A lot of these comments I've actually engaged in already or answered the questions I know. Right. So things that people have already mentioned, I won't necessarily re-go through. But I do appreciate you guys. Mark Joseph says, Flavor Baka is lit. What's up, Mark? Thanks for hopping over from IG back to this here. All right. Skimming through here, trying to grab some comments I may have not already answered. I think they need to put Rhum Bakara into Bonbon Lakai rum cakes. I second it. If you're going to buy quality luxury good, buy Haitian. Amen. Thanks, Lawrence, for that comment. HN, government don't build, they support. Exactly. Businesses have to come together, lobby, business chamber, government, because they're not entrepreneurial. I agree. I think at the end of the day, again, we, the people, have to push forward, organize, and demand a better Haitian government. And I mentioned Haitian government is nothing more but the hair on the body, right? The Haitian government will change the day that the body decides that the hair must change. Follow me? Think about that. All right. A lot of people supporting Rhum Bakara there. Right. Peterson Jean Baptiste says, how do you deal with corruption? Can you give some tools? Number one, don't participate in it. That's the number one thing. Because when you come to Haiti, so many people will come out with their hands out, asking to expedite things for you. As much as possible, try to interface with different government bureaus, bureaucracies yourself, and refuse to give $1 outside of what's prescribed by law. It's going to be hard for you. It's going to take longer. Government bureaucrats are going to purposely lose your file because you can give them a few good on the side. But number one, don't participate in it. Number two, try to, as much as possible, use a lawyer and instruct that lawyer to do things the right way. Lawyers are much more savvy legally and know the pathways for things to be done the right way. So those are the best bits of advice I can give you is, don't come to Haiti when you do decide to come to Haiti. Don't do your best. It's going to be very inconvenient, I can tell you. What can take a day with a corruption payment, a bribe, it's going to take you months potentially. I'm serious. But knowing that you're not contributing to the corruptive atmosphere is priceless. And that's really the best thing I can tell you, Peterson, is make sure your actions are above the board. Okay. Banju says, I should become president. Nope. Want nothing to do with Haitian politics. Even the day Haitian politics changes, listen, I am engaged in politics in Haiti in so much that I want one day that the Haitian diaspora can fully engage in politics, because I do feel keeping the system the way it is right now, where you have the same actors in it, is insanity. Einstein said it best: doing the same things over and over and expecting a different result is insanity, right? And so that is why I want Haitian diaspora to have space and to be anything, deputy, senator. Okay, let's keep the president still a very restricted position. All right, cool. But especially since we have a parliamentary constitution, where all the power really is in parliament, right? Where I don't know what that was, where our parliament our power is held by parliament. Let's allow the diaspora to not only vote easily, like you should be able to, like the Dominicans can vote anywhere in the world. There's ballot places that open up, and you as Haitian national, even as Dominican national, even if you hold a foreign passport, you can still vote in the Dominican elections. We need something like that for Haiti, right? Where the Haitians can vote anywhere in the world, and then Haitians can run for office. Of course, at a restriction. Come on, guys. I am not asking for some guy who doesn't know Haiti at all to run and become a senator in some backwater city or province. I'm not saying that. Come on, guys. Think about that. I'm not. How crazy would that be? We put a condition to say, all right, you have to live in the country and be a resident of the country. You can show that you've been paying rent or living on your property for 4 years or something. Add a qualification to it, of course. You want people who are representing your country to be living in your country. But let's not disqualify them for life as it is right now. As it is right now, they're to be disqualified. You cannot run for senator or deputy in this country if you hold a foreign passport. That's insane, especially when we know 80% of our Haitian diaspora live abroad, right? They are abroad. They are educated. 80% of Haitians who are educated are part of the Haitian diaspora, and they live abroad, right? So giving a pathway to allow them to come in, allow them to engage, allow them what they know is very important to rebuilding the country. Okay? Thanks for that comment there. I appreciate it. All right. All right. Let's see what else we got. Lots of comments here. Appreciate that. A lot of folks are not liking the Taiwan and Chinese coming in and developing. I can respect that opinion. I may not agree with it, and I don't, but I do understand where you're coming from. I've had Jamaicans on the stream, and I value a Jamaican's experience, an actual Jamaican living in Jamaica perspective on the Chinese. And out of, say, 10 Jamaicans who come on my chat and say something, 9 are positive. 9 are actually appreciating the development that's happening in their country because of the Chinese, right? And it's almost always people who are outside of Jamaica, Haitians, or people who aren't in the country of Jamaica, to see the development that's happening, the civilization that's being built in Jamaica right now because of the inward investment of Jamaicans who are saying what they're saying. So I always value the perspective and the opinion of the person actually in that country living that experience, and not somebody who's typing all caps about theory about what they think, right? And so because most Jamaicans value the investment, and since most Dominicans value the investment in Chinese, in fact, 2 years ago, the Dominicans switched over from recognizing Taiwan to recognizing mainland China, and since have received hundreds of millions of dollars of investment, which they've put into improving the infrastructure, continued infrastructure of their country. I'm going to have to side with the countries wisely using and wisely leveraging Chinese investment to improve their country. I'm sorry. The people who actually talk to me about what they're seeing, they're saying very positive things. Let's see, Mike Collins. Naomi Osaka is proven to be the daughter of Haiti. I totally agree with you. Nothing but love and affection. Also, very supportive of BLM. I have nothing but love and affection for Naomi Osaka. Tariq Muhammad, I see you in the chat here. Thanks for switching over. Appreciate you. Chevy fan says, leave Jova now alone. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. Let's see. Twy Faye. What's going on, man? How you doing, brother? Happy to have you in the chat here today. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. Happy to have you seen in the chat. Tway Fi says, what's going on with the Constitution? I have had long talks about the Constitution. But I guess you're probably asking like what's going on in terms of the amendments. Nothing, first off, that's purely politics. That's one reason why that's never really going to be part of my usual news wrap up, just because unless in so much it affects business or it's so pervasive in its demand to be talked about, like the penal code had to spend like half an episode one day to talk about that. But the Constitution, first off, it's not clear how the process is going to be. Second off, it's not clear what is actually going to be amended. Although we do know the one big ask that the president wants is he wants his decrees to become law after 2 months, and Parliament does not vote against it. It's a big ask he's wanting. Now, beyond that, there's not. I mean, I'll tell you what. I will talk about the Constitution once it's very clear the process is in place, and it's very clear that the final iteration of the changes are clear. Right? There's gonna be many iterations of changes, like right before it gets voted, or preferably what gets voted as a constitutional amendment. And I'm confident it's gonna stick around. Right? We'll talk about it at that point. But as it stands right now, it's a big question mark. We just don't know. So thanks for that question. I hope I'm saying your name right, by the way. Twy Faye. All right. Let's see. Let me scroll up a little bit. Scrolling up. Oof, so much comments. I love it though. As you know, I'm taking my time to respond and read every comment, man. So I appreciate you guys sticking around, you guys commenting. I certainly appreciate it very much. Okay. Ali B says, I'm Muslim. I don't drink alcohol, right? I would marry a Haitian woman, but I don't know. I don't know. Haitians aren't racist or anything, right? So come visit. That's what I can tell you, Ali B. Ali B, visit. Come to Haiti on a weekend. Visit in one of our resorts, our hotels. Visit. You'll have a good time, man. I promise you that. All right. And who knows? You may run into a beautiful Haitian woman that you may want to marry. Who knows? All right. Batman says something interesting. Since the government's incompetent, solar panel plant might be the probably best thing. Everyone I've known who has a little bit of money, even those without money, and just pool their money together, they've bought a solar panel in their home. Haiti is moving in a direction where I promise if Haiti stays the way it is in a year or two, Haiti will be the most green country on the planet. You know why? Everyone will have to have solar panels to function and have a little bit of electrical humanity. I say that in a way because electricity is as necessary to live in 2020 as water and air, let's be honest, right? And so we're moving in a direction where everyone is having to have solar panels in their homes because there's no electricity being given to the state from the state. And so we're at a point where That's what's going to happen. The day that Haiti gets electricity again from the state, I wonder how big their client pool will even be. Because I feel like even myself in my office, I'll be honest with you, I turn it off. Right? I don't need power from the state. And rather than be charged very expensive for like, even at the best of times when I got like half of my electricity a day from the state, they would charge me like $100, which is to me insane for just a little bit of money. Like I used to get charged $100 a month in America for full 24/7 electricity, and I used to complain about that, right? So I'll be honest, even me in my office, my power is off because I don't need it. My solar panels, my backup generators, they are sufficient for me and exponentially cheaper than getting money from the state. And I think a lot of people are going to be in that situation. Another 2-3 years from now, I wonder when Jovenel is so successful with his 24/7 initiative, and he won't be in his office, by the way, but PHTK is so successful in it, how large their pool of users will actually be, given that I know so many people are going to be using solar panels. Now, that said, it's still important that this happens because it is still inappropriately expensive to set up a full solar panel system when you're starting up a company, right? It's a very inconvenient expenditure of initial capital that you have to spend so much money on setting up your electricity system to function versus just calling up and just saying, hey, Idiash, we're opening, here's $100 deposit, here's $100 for the first month, get going, right? So for future business, it's still important, and I still can't discount that. If future investment is going to happen, it needs state electricity. But I'm just saying, the people who are already here, like me, and running businesses already, we're not going to need EDIASH electricity. So thanks for that comment, Black Millennial. Appreciate it. Let's see what else we got here. Pierre Paul says, "What's the take on Wilson Jody candidacy?" I'm for Wilson Jody, right? I think he's a smart man. Haiti has never elected a proven leader who has shown what they can do when they have power. Wilson Jody is proven with the way he operates Delma that he, ask anybody who lives in Delma, who's driven past Delma, who's, the roads are being built in record pace. People pay property taxes. They see where their taxes are going. He's made it very easy to pay property tax. He understands that tax is something that should be made as easy and simple to be done as possible versus the way it is right now. It's super inconvenient, super corrupt, right, in terms of DGI. He picks up the trash. He's a guy with a vision. And no matter what, and the one negative thing that people say about him is, oh, he steals land. Read my book. People would say that, read my book, jump to the chapter I have on real estate, and you'll see just how Haiti needs land reform, period. And I can tell you, any person who has any real inclination to do real public work in Haiti will always be accused of stealing land because there is no land rights in Haiti. And anyone who tries to do anything with any land as empty as, you may walk up on empty land and think it's empty, but the moment you start doing some construction on there or doing some things on there, even if you bought it, just wait to see how many people will come out the woodwork to say this land is theirs. You as a private citizen who's not a politician, right? Just trying to do your stuff. How many people will come with full paperwork to say, no, this is my land, right? And just imagine the way it is. It's exponentially when it comes to government work, right? Where the government has an obligation to pay out with a much lower bar of proof, right? It only makes sense that you're going to have people say, oh, that's the one who's been as productive in building parks and public spaces and areas for administrative buildings as Wilson Jody has. It's only natural that there's going to be people come out the world to say, oh, he steals land. No, no, no. It's not that simple, right? It's not that simple. In any case, I'm certainly for Wilson Jody, and I personally met him actually on a plane ride funny story. But I met him on a plane ride. I had a conversation with him, personal conversation, and I have a lot of respect for him. And certainly, I will, unless some big scandal happens to make me think otherwise, Wilson Judy certainly has my vote. Right? So we'll see. We'll see how Wilson Judy does. Thank you, guys. Reading through. Thanks for a lot of positive comments there. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Ed Adu says, how much do you think it would cost to build a house in rural? Not much. Not much. I know homes there can be built. I know Maximus, in fact, builds homes for a few $1,000s. About a super simple home. You can build something pretty comfortable for $20,000, $30,000 probably, to be honest with you. So Ido asking about how much does it take to build a home in Haiti, right? Tracy Laguerre says, Yo, Gene, speaking to existence. You're going to be the face of business news in Haiti. I'll give you your whole floor to produce your show along with many others at my studio. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. And let's talk. If you actually have a full studio, feel free to send me a message, Tracy. Let's talk about that. We can set things up for something in the future. My contact information, if you're watching on YouTube, it should be below. You can see the email in the comments. All right. Thanks for that, Tracy. Thanks for that. Let's see. I'm going through a lot of these comments. I see I've already answered, so I'm sort of skipping them over a little bit there. All right. So I am reading it, and I do appreciate you guys commenting. I'm just looking for stuff I haven't covered already in this stream. All right. Zayfe just mentioned that. I mentioned when it's going on the Constitution. Once I have hard facts and a hard idea of what's going to be decided or what is decided, I will report it. But for now, it's a big question mark, and we'll see if he's going to even be able to impact the constitutional change that he wants. Vandal Bernard Berndu, good to see you, brother. Been watching you for a while. Great job. Thank you. From Boston, originally from Domon. I hope I'm saying it right. Thanks, Vandal. I hope you're subscribed. Hope to see you in the chat again. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. All right. Comments about my Dessalines comments there. Okay. Harold saying putting some scripture in there. I don't quite understand what's going on there, Harold. Careful, Harold. Don't be spamming my channel now. Remember, I ban people for one reason, and that's spam. Careful, man. I don't know what's going on with these constant scriptures, man. Make sure this is within the framework of adding value, man. More scripture from Harold. I'm gonna give Harold the benefit of the doubt. But Harold may be banned. I keep seeing it. Linda Brilliant. Hello, Chris. I am a descendant of Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Good stuff. I think we all are, in one form or fashion. But if you're a legit blood lineage, fantastic. Great. Good for you. All right. Tracy Lagarde's telling me happy birthday. Thank you so much. Michael, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Natalie Dubois, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Mega, Team Virgo. That's right. Team Virgo in the house. Virgos are the best. Best people. We're the best sign. Analytical, doers. We're not BSers. We speak our mind, or we act on our mind at the very least. We may not speak up our mind, but we'll act upon our mind, right? And honestly, sometimes the best business people are Virgos. I'm just not tooting my own horn here, but Team Virgo. Maya Alday, thank you so much. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Jojo, thank you for the birthday wishes. Appreciate that. Kenal David, thank you for the birthday wishes. Appreciate it. Hero, thank you for the birthday wishes. Appreciate that. All right. Yeah. Assembly packaging. That's not what Surtab does with their tablets. Got it from Haiti when they first came out. Yes, thank you for that, Mike Colin. Surtab's another great example, right? They don't just import stuff, right? They get most of their products from cheaper places that specialize in it, but then they assemble it in Haiti, add value, and then sell it, right? So I have a lot of respect for CERTAP. CERTAP is a great example of the right way to do importation in the country. So thanks for that. Thanks for that. Yeah. Let's see what you're saying here, right? It took me 2 years to get the notary done for a piece of land. That's normal. It can take that long, Juliet, to get your paperwork legalized. So that is legal. That is, and that is part of my book, how long it can potentially take. It can take a while. Okay. So thank you for that. Jean-Claude Jancy. Thanks for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Messi. Edwin Joseph, thank you. I think first I'm seeing you in the chat. Hope to see you again. Right. Tracy Lagarde does not believe in the Chinese system. Listen, you're liable for her opinion. Don't worry. This is a space for differing opinions. I don't agree with it, but you have as much right to that opinion as I have to believe the other opposite. No problem. Haiti does have dual nationality. It was passed in 2012 under Mateli. Legally, Haitians can hold dual nationalities and have all rights afforded to them as Haitians. They just cannot. Have limited places they can run for office. They can run for mayor of cities, but that's it. They can't hold high administrative offices. They can be hired in a ministry, like a department, but they can't be the head of that ministry, like Ministry of Agriculture, and they can't be heads of that, right? And they certainly can't be deputies. They can't be senators, and they can't be president. And it's problematic. But in terms of being a citizen, being able to vote, actually Haitians can actually vote. It's just not convenient. You have to actually fly into the country. You have to get a voter card, and that can be a headache, right? And sometimes actually prove that you are Haitian citizen, say if you were born there, even though the amendment to the Constitution says that if your mom or dad is Haitian, you're Haitian. There's still the next part of that amendment was for the Haitian Parliament to vote on a process to allow you to claim your Haitian citizenship easily. That process does not exist. And you basically have to use lawyers and a very complicated, expensive process to exercise that amendment, that constitutional amendment. And so, but the short answer is, in the simple case where you were born in Haiti but left and become a dual citizenship, it's very easy to exercise that right and that capacity. Joel Cruz, thank you for that question. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't use the same thing in the Dominican Republic. I agree with you. I agree with you there, Jay George, about when it comes to solar panel, right? Instead of using Shabla. But understand that, it's not, the government needs to incentivize that. When you look in Jamaica, and the fact that Jamaica is so green, and the poorest people in Jamaica, they can get, very cheap alternative, like kerosene, I don't know about kerosene, but for sure, natural gas and products of that sort, they get it very cheaply. And the Jamaican government subsidizes it, right? And it also makes it a law which they enforce. It's criminal to cut down trees in forestry, right? And I think there's exceptions. I guess maybe it's your property or something, but it's illegal to cut trees and then use that to make shabo, which is charcoal, right? And they enforce it. So they incentivize their poor to use alternatives by giving subsidies. And then they criminalize and enforce the cutting down of trees. You need both things to happen for the degradation of environment to decrease. And Haiti can't get, that's a lot to ask for from the Haitian government. A lot to ask for, right? So this is a government that doesn't even build schools for its students. Right? It's an entity that barely protects its police officers, right? And you're asking it to do something like protect the environment. You're asking for a lot, Jay George. You're asking for a lot. Yeah. Right. Marie Pierre, thank you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Appreciate that. Max 1673, first time I've seen a chat. Happy to have you in the chat. Right. I miss Haiti of my youth, and I believe I will be alive to see it again and start with Haitians in Haiti and Haiti abroad. I hope that is the case, and I am working. Myself and the people who are here are working towards that reality. Well, I actually expound that I believe Haiti will change in my generation. Maybe before I moved here, I probably said that. After living here and seeing how inept this government is firsthand, it's hard for me to say that. I'll be honest with you. But I'm still hopeful, because at the end of the day, I can control myself. I can control the people I network with, and I know myself and the people I'm working with. We're going to be successful. We're going to do our part, and because everything else, Haiti being in a place in our generation, there's so many variables outside of my control. It's hard to me to put that hope out there. I'll be honest with you. Other folks will accuse me of being incredibly naive about Haiti. I'm not. I'm just about that action, boss. Right? I'm just about that action. Right? I'm about that one thing that actually will move the country in the direction it needs to be. Right? But that's as much as I can say. But Max 1673, I'm glad that you believe that, and you're in the space you're in a safe space to say those things. Just make sure you're part of the action, right? Because Haiti only gets to where you just said by enough of the Haitian diaspora acting in the right way. And that's the only way. The only way Haiti will actually become better, generationally speaking. Okay, thank you for that. Jay George, thank you, brother. Bon anniversaire. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Juliet says, if my children are 50% Haitian, would it be a problem for them doing property in Haiti? That is not the case. The way hereditary law works in Haiti, your children, if they can prove that they're your children, they have full rights to your property. And the way the legal constitution works in Haiti, if you're Haitian, then your children are Haitian, no matter where they were born, period. They just need a parent to be Haitian, and they're Haitian, point blank. Right? So they will have heredity to your land. Okay. Though I would highly advise you to make sure you have a clear will, and in fact, it must be better as you're getting up in age. I would advise you to sell your property to one of your children, or do a transfer to one of your children, because one of the hairiest things that happens in Haiti, why land rights are so bad in Haiti, is because if you don't do a transfer while you're alive to one of your children, all your children, all of them, even that black sheep, the one that that you love as much as your other kids, but that one that doesn't have his stuff together, or she doesn't have her stuff together, she has as much rights, equal rights to the land as your other children, right? And they can sell that land and do a lot of malfeasance to your land if they so choose, right? And so it's always better to transfer it to one person, and you can structure a will to make it very clear what the direction of that land should be. And you can probably structure in a way to where you use other courts outside of Haiti to where other siblings can potentially sue if the land in Haiti is being incorrectly appropriated. Now you just have to seek a lawyer to make sure that sort of relationship is structured the right way, because in terms of what's called jurisdiction, American courts don't have any jurisdiction again on Haitian land, right? But they do have jurisdiction on contracts in terms of how certain behaviors, certain monies need to be flowed into and flowed out of, right? And so there's ways to structure relationships to make sure that your children don't potentially totally fegagot, as a Haitian expression goes, on your future land. So make sure you you look into that, Juliet. Okay. And I'll let Negmaon take me out, and I'll say thank you, Negmaon, for the birthday wishes. So that's where we're going to end it. 3 hours on my birthday. Always a pleasure to spend it with people I care and like about, and that's you guys who watch this channel, who watch this episode, watch this series, and to me, it's just another working day. My birthday is just another working day, honestly, and that's the best way to honor the God's ability to give me life. As we know, when it comes to being alive, you can perish a million different ways. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, Chad Boswick. Right? Rest in peace, so many people who died and passed away because of COVID. Right? And her Nigres Similian. Yes, I do live in Haiti permanently. Mark Richard, you missed 3 hours worth of episodes. You're more than welcome, Mark Richard, to as soon as this ends, this is going to be you're going to be able to rewind this episode, and you'll be able to catch up on what's going on in Haiti. Right, that's the whole point of this episode of this show, is to talk about what's going on in Haiti. Fortunately, you came very late, so you missed the entire conversation. So feel free and rewind it back, and you'll be caught up. All right, Mark. And by the way, 11 a.m. is when the show starts. 11 a.m. ish. Most of the days I'm late, unfortunately. Sorry. I was supposed to be on time, but the reason why I was late was that people were calling me to wish me happy birthday. So that's why I was late. So I have, in my defense today, I have legitimate reason why I was late. Right. And so 11 a.m. We're here every Sunday, and you can always find out what's going on in Haiti just by showing up on time and being part of the stream. All right, Mark. But thanks for popping in, Mark Richard. Do subscribe, hit that notification so you know when we're on the air, and you can stay informed. Right? But I want to thank everyone who stayed from the very beginning, 3 hours ago to now. Thank you for that. As always, we're back. We'll be back next Sunday, 11 a.m. As always, there's so much content going on, so much going on in Haiti on the channel. If you're new to it, make sure you hit subscribe. We just dropped a brand new video. Le Plaza Hotel, and we went to Chamas, and we showed off the park, the Haitian Central Park. We showed that off. So if you haven't watched that video, it's on pace to be my most watched video on the channel. So make sure to see why people like it, see why people are liking it, and then share it. Share it across your network. Let's get some more people in here, because at the end of the day, Haiti changes only when we educate ourselves, both those in Haiti and those outside, educate ourselves on what real Haiti is. Right, and we can impact change, right? And part of what I'm doing here is educating, right? And so let's help me with that mission. You help me with that mission by sharing it across your network, across different groups. Whatever your favorite video was, share it. Share it. Get some people in here to know what the mission is, and get them working, get them getting educated and working towards a better Haiti. That's how Haiti improves and gets to where it needs to be. As always, if you participated in the conversation today, more reason to share the stream, right? And of course, we do have that Square Cash right there next to the side there, And so if you're so inclined, you're more than welcome to help add to the war chest. Every dollar that is provided goes to allowing us to do more Seejeanty content. Allows us to go out on day. Have a team of people. It allows us to pay their food, pay their lodging, and really produce some great content. We got some really great content coming out for this. We got a few more months in the year, and we have some really cool content coming out. Can't wait to show you guys, and your contributions help. And again, you have to spend $1. Sharing it is just enough, right? Sharing it to get the mission out is equally as impactful, right? So, all right, guys, that's it for this 13th of September episode. I want to appreciate everyone who showed up, who watched, who participated. And as always, guys, we'll be back at it again when we're back at it again. Peace.